Along with John Walsh, we will call all of the play-by-play this evening as we get to see the Chagrin Valley Conference for the first time. John, it should be an interesting matchup between two outstanding teams.
Very much so, Joe. As we've seen this season, Chagrin Valley football is so well balanced. There is not a weak sister in the entire league. It's solid football teams across the board. Tonight we have two of the better ones facing each other. Chagrin comes in 2-1 on the season. Their only loss being to a playoff-bound last season Hawken team. Again, Hawken's ranked #1 in the state, so that's not a significant loss from Chagrin's vantage point. Chardon's coming up with 3 very, very impressive wins over Riverside in their opener, Youngstown Rayen in their second one, and Glenville last week. It's going to be a competitive season. I'll be talking later on about significance of CVC football this season. But tonight we got two of the better teams, like I alluded to before, and I'm looking forward to a great physical ball game tonight, Joe.
Hang on to your seats. It's going to be a great ball game as Cablevision Sports presents the Chardon Hilltoppers versus the Chagrin Falls Tigers. Joe Scarola back here at C.S. Harris Stadium in Chagrin Falls, Ohio, along with John Walsh, and we're going to have a real interesting matchup between these two ball clubs. Chardon with a record of 3 wins and no losses, and the host Chagrin Falls Tigers with a record of 2-1, their only loss coming to Hawken. And their victories over Kirtland and Chanel. Chardon with 3 consecutive victories to open the season, defeating Riverside, Youngstown Rayen in what was one of the major upsets in high school football this season. And then last week they kept up the good work, knocking off Glenville. John, what are the keys to victory tonight? What are we looking for in this ball game as we get set to kick off here?
Well, essentially what we're boiled down to is 2 coaches out here, Coach Payai for Chagrin and Coach Doyle for Chardon, who stress the defensive aspect. Granted, Chardon has put a lot of points on the board offensively this year, but they still live off of their defenses, and that's what's going to make it Chagrin Valley Conference play. Is a strong defense with enough of an offense to give you the points on the board for victory. So, I'm sorry, Joe.
We're not anonymous anymore, you noticed. Anyway, it's interesting to point out that Bob Doyle, once upon a time, probably more years ago than he would care to admit, played football for the Chagrin Falls Tigers, and his coach then was the man who is still the coach now, John Payai. It's been a long tenure for John Payai, beginning his 26th season as head coach of the Chagrin Falls Tigers. He is #1 among CVC coaches in seniority, both seniority within the league at the same team, and I believe head coaching experience, overall head coaching experience among CVC coaches. This is a very long and very successful tenure for John Payai. And interesting to note also, and we've noted it before, all 8 of the CVC head coaches have winning percentages of over 600. Kickoff taken by Chagrin Falls, and that's number 33, Scott Thomas. Thomas takes the football across the 25 out to about the 27-yard line, knocked down by a horde of Chardon tacklers, and it's 1st and 10. We'll mark it at the 26-yard line for Chagrin.
Yeah, Thomas is an explosive type of water bug runner, meaning small, quick, evasive, and he just was very, very impressive. I had the opportunity to see him earlier this year on a Channel 25 broadcasts the Chagrin-Hawken game, and he's just a very, very impressive player coming out of that tailback position.
Ryan Kay is the quarterback, number 20. And he pitches the football out to Thomas. Thomas knocked down as he reaches the 29-yard line. Taken down there by number 56, Dave Scanlon, and number 76, Todd Peterson. Gain of 3. It'll be 2nd and 7.
Yeah, also Bill Bailey slid over from his nose tackle position, making that tackle. He's an impressive little junior, that Bailey. Played defensive end last year, looked great for Chardon. This year they had a little internal problem on the defensive line, so they shuffle people around. Bailey came with his 175 pounds, put it nose, and has done an admirable job for Chardon thus far this season.
Coming in motion left is T.J. Florkowitz. Wide to the right is Chad Vranick. Kay rolling to his right, dumps it out short and incomplete, intended for Dave McDonald, number 44. It'll be 3rd down.
Yeah, it was a good little play call by Coach Payai that time, testing out the waters, seeing what the flats area of the Chardon zone is like. Chuck Cox was defending out of that, coming out of his linebacker position and trailing the receiver. But it was a successful type of play. It just wasn't executed properly. It didn't make the completion, but the opening was there, and it was possible to whip off an 8-10 yard gain. So I think right now we're a feeling series for Chagrin Falls.
Chuck Cox, one of the finest linebackers in northeastern Ohio. The give to Thomas. He's out across the 30 up to about the 32-yard line. Taken down there by Dave Scanlon. It'll be 4th down, and Chagrin Falls is forced to punt.
That was a nice little trap play by them where they pulled the guard, Bill Henderson, who shot over, trapped, opening up the hole to the left side of the Chagrin offense, and good blocking ahead. It ought to be interesting, Joe. I'm really looking forward to a heck of a ball game here. First couple series might be slow going where both teams feel out what each other can do.
T.J. Florkowitz punting to Howard Joyner and Bob Sotka. High kick. Sotka is going to take it at about the 32, 35. Breaks the tackle and is finally pulled down by the shirt tail at the 38-yard line. Staying in there to make that tackle was Chad Vranick, number 87. Chardon has the football for the first time, 1st and 10 at their own 38.
Yeah, Bob Rathbone was in on that tackle. Good special team works by the Chagrin group that time, getting downfield. And they also were aided greatly by the high arching punt of Florkowitz, who came out and just is one of the premier kickers in the Chagrin Valley Conference.
I did not see the game, but I'll get back to something about Florkowitz in a minute or two here. 1st and 10 for Chardon under the direction of Howard Joyner, and I believe that handoff went to Chuck Cox, and Cox gets about 2 up to the 40-yard line, knocked down there by number 50, Cliff Strickland, and number 73, Tom Belshaw. A couple of outstanding seniors for the Chagrin Falls Tigers. 2nd and 8. T.J. Florkowitz in the season opener against Hawken, apparently, from what I understand, missed a 55-yard field goal by inches. We'll get back to it again in a little more detail as Joyner brings them up on 2nd and 8. Coming in motion is number 32, Jeff Palaima. He takes the pitch across the 40, and he's knocked down at the 42-yard line. Another fine defensive play by Tom Belshaw, number 73, and also number 27, Mark Derry, in on the tackle. But I guess there was a penalty against Hawken on the missed 55-yard field goal attempt. Florkowitz tried it again from 40 and hit one that cleared by about 20 yards. Man has got some leg on him.
Just very, very fine punter and place kicker also.
2nd down, make it 3rd down and 6 for Chardon. Howard Joyner going down the sideline, overthrown, intended for number 86, Brian Wacob, and it will be 4th down. So Chagrin Falls and Chardon both failing to pick up a 1st down in their first offensive possessions. Now it's Chardon's turn to punt to Chagrin Falls.
And like Chagrin found that little seam in the Chardon zone, Chardon seemed to find one in Chagrin that time where the ball was just over the fingertips of Wacob, but he did have his man beaten to the outside, and that would have been a very substantial gain for Chardon had the completion been made.
Mike Scolaris will do the punting for Chardon. Gets a low snap, and it's blocked. It is blocked by the Chagrin Falls Tigers, and a scramble, and finally the ball covered by Chagrin Falls inside the 30 at the Chardon 29-yard line. The man who covered it was Adam Lackman, number 67. I think Mark Derry, number 27, is the man who blocked it. But a big turn of events in favor of Chagrin, and the Tigers have a first down at the Chardon 29-yard line.
Yeah, Matt Vranich almost picked that ball out of the air, and he would have had clear sailing in the end zone had he done so. Very, very good work for the Chagrin unit, getting in there quick on that punt, aided by this bad snap.
First and 10 from the 29 as Kay gives the ball to number 44, Dave McDonald. McDonald picks up a couple of yards. Gain 2 to the 27. He was knocked down there by number 54, Rob Cinco. It'll be second down and 8 yards to go.
Yeah, this is one of those cases where Chagrin definitely has a strong point. Again, going back to Florkovich's strong field goal leg, because they're sitting now in a range of a 40, 42-yard field goal should they be stopped at this point. There's not many high school teams that can successfully complete one from that point on the field.
Vranick comes wide to the left, wide to the right is Florkowitz, and Ryan Kay fumbles the snap and finally falls on it. Back out around the 34-yard line. Big loss on the play. He lost 7 yards. It'll bring up third down, 3rd and 15 for Chagrin Falls at the Chardon 34.
It'll be interesting to see how they go through the air with Ryan Kay being a first-year starter for Chagrin here. I really don't know that much about his passing game. We'll see as it unfolds here in front of us tonight. Did you notice, Joe, Chardon's given a new look on their offense this year? They're going with the old double wing formation.
Exactly.
And a lot of shifting, too. It looks like a more sophisticated, brand-new offense put in this year by Coach Doyle.
A lot of motion. I think they're going to throw the ball a little more than they have in the past, too. 3rd down and 15. Kay back in the pocket, going down the sideline. It is out of the reach of Florkowitz, incomplete. That'll bring up 4th down, and it'll be interesting to see what John Payai decides to do with T.J. Florkowitz in this situation. Florkowitz has a strong enough leg to hit a 50 or 51-yard field goal, but looks right now like they might try the punt. Well, we'll find out.
I think I'd try the coffin corner. It's a little too early in the game to go for that, and you don't want to take the occasion of a missed field position where Chardon can end up having the ball in the 35-yard line should he miss it. And yeah, I think I'd go either a little pooch kick, remember that one, Joe, or just safely kick it to the coffin corner.
Howard Joyner is the lone deep man. That punt was nearly blocked, and it's going to hit at the 5, and will they be able to down it? And the answer is no. As the ball rolls into the end zone, it'll be a touchback. 1st and 10 at the 20-yard line.
I'll tell you, like you mentioned, Chardon passing more. As I understand it, they have a very, very strong secondary this year. That last pass attempt by Chagrin was an illustration of that, where safety man Bob Sotka just blanketed his receiver, took Florkowitz and followed him step for step down the field. That comes with synonymous. Both of them occur at the same time. If you have a good passing game, you practice it more during the practice hours. Consequently, your defense gets more work at a pass offense.
1st and 10 from the 20-yard line, and the ball carrier, I believe, it's Chuck Cox. Chuck Cox takes it out close to a first down, just short of the 30-yard line. He'll be short by a little less than a yard. 2nd down for Chardon.
Yeah, this is the first time we've seen Cox in the backfield. We've seen him for the last couple of seasons of CBC action, playing out of that linebacker position. He's a bull. He's just a strong, powerful, straight-ahead looking runner. It doesn't surprise me that he can do well out of the backfield.
Man is a very powerful runner and a very powerful football player, no question about it. 2nd and 1, and he gets the call again through a big hole across the 40 and out to about the 41-yard line. Stopped down there by number 86, Matt Vranick, and it will be a 1st and 10 for Chardon, the first down of the ball game, and Chardon has it at the Chardon 41-yard line.
Yeah, Chardon ran the ball at the left side that time, right over Bill Bailey, who we mentioned, who plays also a left tackle position. Brian Stuzinski, who is supposed to be, as I understand it, an excellent guard, and Brian Wacob coming out of his end position. Good blocking on that left side of the Chardon offensive line.
1st and 10. Again, the give to Cox. And again, he gets a big hole, and he drives across midfield to about the 49, tackled once again by Matt Vranick. And from our vantage point, it looks like he has a Chardon first down, and he does. 1st and 10 at the 49-yard line.
Yeah, I'll tell you, Joe, that's one of the best combinations you can have for getting an excellent running game in order, is having a strong offensive line that gets you into the secondary and a bruising back that can just drag people for 5 additional yards. They're looking good on the ground right now, moving the ball at ease.
1st and 10 from the 49-yard line. Wacom comes in motion left, and now tight to the right is number 85, that's Steve Wilson. And the give once again to Chuck Cox, and Cox takes the football to the 45-yard line, and it's 2nd down and 6.
Yeah, we have strong driving. I believe Chardon, we'll have to keep an eye on this, but I think they're sending in their plays by a messenger center, believe it or not, Joe. I think that's where the plays are coming. We'll have to watch after this play if the substitute center. That's an odd place to be sending in plays for. I've never seen anyone else use that before.
Wilson tight to the right. Scolaris is the slot back to the left. Rolling to his right is Howard Joyner. And the pass is in and out of the hands of a receiver down at the 35-yard line. That receiver was number 88, Bob Sotka. It'll be 3rd down. And we'll call it 7 yards to go for a Chardon first down.
I'll tell you, Howard Joyner did throw a bullet that time, and that ball was on target. It was just good, tight coverage there. I'm sure Sotka heard the footsteps coming, and he knew he was going to take the hit upon touching the ball, which is exactly what happened. Good defensive player. If they time their hit properly before the player can get the ball, pull it in, you hit him and you get the incompletion out of it. That was an incompletion based on the defense of Chagrin.
Howard Joyner, very, very impressive young quarterback as he looks to throw again, flushed out of the pocket. Sidesteps a couple of men. Here he goes down the sideline, and he picked up enough for a first down, I believe, down around the 39. He was finally run down by Mark Derry, number 27, and also number 46, Jim Cohn. It'll be a 1st and 10 for Chardon at the 38-yard line of Chagrin Falls. And, John, the athletic ability of Howard Joyner was very evident on that scramble.
I'll tell you, a combination of 2 things, Joe. Like you said, the athletic ability, also the experience of being a quarterback. He felt the pressure, stepped up, and then saw his opening and shot. He just read that very, very well and reacted extremely well. Joyner impressed us last year as a sophomore, and he's living up to it with the maturity and experience he picked up last year.
He certainly is. And Chuck Cox is hit early and often as the Chagrin Falls defense rises to meet him. Number 73, Tom Belshaw, in on the tackle, along with number 61, Bill Henderson. It'll be 2nd down, and we'll call it no gain, 2nd and 10.
Yeah, again, matching the 2 defensive and offensive fronts for Chardon and Chagrin here. Both of them don't really have much in the way of size, but they react well and they move off of the quickness and play very, very strong defensive play.
2nd and 10 at the Chagrin Falls 38. We're scoreless. Just over 3 minutes to play here in the first quarter, and Chuck Cox takes the ball down to the 35. He was stopped there by number 70, Judd Woodward. Gain of 3. It'll bring up 3rd down and 7.
Yeah, Bill Henderson also knifed over there, made good penetration through the Chardon line and grabbed the heels of Cox, pulling them down from the backside a little bit. Again, that shows the quickness of that defensive front of Chagrin.
3rd down and 7 at the 35-yard line. Bob Sotka is tight to the left, tight to the right is Steve Wilson. In the slot right there is number 40, Rafi Desipeda. And Joyner rolling to his left, throwing left. It is intercepted. Intercepted down there by number 42, Matt Stanton. Matt Stanton with the interception, and Chagrin Falls will have the football 1st and 10 at their own 22-yard line. Howard Joyner has been sharp most of the night, but, John, that was a poorly thrown pass.
Yeah, he overthrew his receiver. There were 2 defenders on the backside of Sotka covering him deeply. If he had just thrown it a little bit lower or something, he did have his man open. It was a bad thrown pass that time, but a nice drive for Chardon where they got into it, started moving the ball down the field. They started out well under 20, moved it well down. Good establishment of their offense here on early in the game.
Florkowitz comes wide to the left, and Ryan Kay rolling to his left on the option play. He's going to take it across the 25 and out to the 29-yard line. Picked up about 7. He was tackled down there by Bob Vincicara, number 31. It'll be 2nd and 3. Ryan Kay, a very fine basketball player for the Chagrin Falls Tigers. We had an outstanding basketball season, finishing 2nd to West Geauga in the CVC and finishing with a record of 17 wins and 3 losses. Both of their Chagrin Valley Conference losses coming to West G. And Wolverines went undefeated in the conference in basketball last year. Wide to the left comes T.J. Florkowitz. Wide to the right is Matt Vranek. And it's second down and about 3 yards to go. And here's the give on the delay to Thomas. And Thomas is tripped up in the backfield and cut down at the line of scrimmage by Chuck Cox. It'll be 3rd and 3.
Yeah, Perry Miklas also sliced in from his left linebacker position that time to get into the backfield and just cut the legs out from underneath Thomas. They just seem to be keying a little bit on Thomas. They know he's the main running back for Chagrin. They're isolating on him, sending the linebackers shuttling in, knifing into the holes, picking the right ones to grab hold of them.
Wide to the left comes Florkowitz. Wide to the right is Matt Vranek, and the slot right is number 25, Dan Mills. Kay dropping to throw on 3rd and 3, overthrown and almost intercepted. Jeff Palima, the free safety, number 32, actually misjudged the ball, or else he would have had an interception. It'll be 4th down.
Yeah, I'm wondering if that ball was overthrown deliberately, because the Chardon defense did drop back. They had excellent zone coverage. There was 3 white shirts surrounding the receiver. There really wasn't much opportunity, so I'm wondering if Kay read that and just heaved the ball over their heads rather than trying to force it in there. And he was having good pressure from the defense in front of Chardon also, so he didn't have much time to do anything else. He had to get rid of the ball.
T.J. Florkowitz again to punt for Chagrin Falls. Howard Joyner and Bob Sotka deep to receive. A bad snap, and it was everything he did to get it away, and what a pretty punt. Fair catch called for by Joyner at the 40-yard line of Chardon, and that's where the Hilltoppers will take the ball. 1st and 10. Very impressive punt under hideous conditions. 41 yards by T.J. Florkowitz. 1st and 10, Chardon at the 40-yard line.
Yeah, there was contact downfield after the punt, but that was a case of a Chardon man laying in front and Florkowitz taking a step after he kicked it and tripping over him. The referee was right on top of it. No flags were thrown, as there should have been.
36 seconds to play here in the first quarter as Chardon takes over the ball. 1st and 10 at their own 40-yard line. We are scoreless. Tight to the left is Wacob. Tight to the right is Wilson. And motion left is Jeff Palima. The give is to the second man through, Mike Scolaris. And Scolaris is going nowhere. Shut down immediately by Adam Leckman, number 67, and also number 27, Mark Derry. A pair of seniors on this senior-dominated Chagrin Falls football squad. It'll be 2nd down. Short gain, we'll call it 2, 2nd and 8.
I'll tell you, Chardon is shuttling backs into the backfield left and right. So far, I think we've seen 5-6 players make appearances in the Chardon backfield, which is great because Chardon this year has more two-way starters than they normally do. It gives the boys in the backfield a chance to rest up a little bit.
And that's the end of the first quarter. The Hilltoppers unable to get that play off before the quarter expired. That's the end of one here at C.S. Harris Stadium in Chagrin Falls with our score. Chagrin Falls nothing, Chardon nothing. We'll be back after this timeout on Cablevision.
Chrysler has opened.
Well, we go to quarter number 2. No score between Chardon and Chagrin Falls. Joe Scarola along with John Walsh as Howard Joyner brings up his Chardon Hilltoppers on 2nd and 8. And he gives the football to Mike Scolaris running wide. A huge hole. There he goes. 40, 35, inside the 30 and knocked out of bounds to the 26-yard line. He's got a long gainer and a Chardon first down deep in Chagrin territory. The man who finally made the tackle was Matt Stanton, number 42. 1st and 10 for Chardon.
Yeah, that time the right side of the Chardon offensive line opened up a good one over Dave Scanlon, and Ed Ash just blew open a big hole there. Scolaris hit it, cut it to the outside, got a great gain out of it. Good blocking by that Chardon line tonight. They're just doing an excellent job up front.
1st and 10 for Chardon at the 26-yard line of Chagrin Falls. Wake up the standing end to the right. Scolaris now comes in motion, and he's the ball carrier. Another big hole for Mike Scolaris, and there he goes inside the 15, down around the 12 or 13-yard line. Boy, they're getting some real mileage through the right side of that Chagrin Falls defense. Man who finally made the tackle, number 60, Craig Madorsky. It'll be another 1st and 10 for Chagrin Falls, or for Chardon.
Yeah, Chardon, like last week we saw Berkshire seem to be too much in the way of right-handed. I thought for a while Chardon was left-handed, but now they were running great to the right side, getting gaping holes open up and moving the ball rather well.
Definitely moving it on the ground, and in the past that's where they've liked to move it, although it seems like they've really updated some things here in Chardon, moving the ball a little more through the air these days. A little more of a passing attack we'll see out of that double wing rather than the old wing T that we saw previously. And of course that's a concession to the ability of Howard Joyner, who is an outstanding, and I mean outstanding, young quarterback who is really capable of putting some big numbers up if he has an opportunity to do it.
I think it's a combination of, like you said, having an excellent athletic quarterback like Joyner, and also just the personnel that Coach Doyle has this year. He doesn't have much in the way of size. He's got strong, quick fellas up front there. But so he adapted his offense, changed it a little bit more in the trapping offense, more of the pass blocking, which is easier than moving people out of the way. I think it's just making the offense fit the players you have, rather than vice versa, which in many cases doesn't work. And so far, at least with this 3-0 record and Chardon's movement tonight on the ball, it seems to be a good transition for Chardon.
There's a lot of emphasis on weight training, I know, among the Chardon players. We've talked about it enough with Bob Doyle over the last 2 or 3 seasons. Major emphasis on working with weights here, and it's paying off for the Chardon Hilltoppers, no question about it. 1st and 10 at the 13-yard line as Joyner gives the football to Chuck Cox, and Cox is going nowhere. Cut down there by number 70, Judd Woodward, and also Tom Belshaw. Cliff Strickland in on the tackle. It'll be 2nd down and 10.
Yeah, I see Chardon is substituting now. Like before I mentioned, they were shuttling in their centers. I believe they were taking the right tackle now and doing the work there. They have Ed Ash and Colin Rice shuttling in plays at the moment. Colin Rice is 6'9". You can see him if on the huddle there. He kind of stands out among the other players. Just a huge, imposing figure.
He's putting it mildly there, big number 79. We have a Chardon timeout here with 11:02 to play in the quarter as Bob Doyle wants to talk some things over with his charges, talking to Howard Joyner there on the sideline as you get a panoramic view of the crowd over on the opposite side of C.S. Harris Stadium. C.S. Harris Stadium, one of the few places that we work where the press box is on the visitor's side of the field. Of course, tonight we are actually set up in the stands down toward the front row of the grandstand here of this stadium, parts of which date all the way back to 1913. It is by far the oldest stadium of any of the stadiums, in fact, that we've ever worked in.
That's a very nice facility, too. People here are very kind and gracious to us. It's just a good place to do a ball game.
There was a major renovation project at this stadium here on Route 422. It won't be Route 422 much longer in Chagrin Falls when the new freeway comes out through Bainbridge and all that. That'll be the relocated 422. We'll have to start referring to it by its real name of Washington Street, but that's neither here nor there. 2nd down and 8 at the 11-yard line for Chardon. Scaleris in the slot left. Wide to the right is Wakub. Desipeda in motion, and Joyner to throw over the middle. It's incomplete. Mike Scaleris, the intended receiver, he was open, but they just missed connections. It'll be 3rd down.
Yeah, it's either a case of Scaleris ran a little bit of a wrong route, or Joyner just threw a bad pass behind him, because they just didn't make connections at all. The pass being thrown rather well behind him. He was cutting in towards the middle, and Joyner threw it like he should have done a down-and-out pattern.
It looked to me, too, like Joyner just kind of delivered the ball off balance, off of his back foot, and sort of more or less missed him. 3rd down and 8 at the 11-yard line as Howard Joyner brings him up. And the fake to Scaleris. Joyner to throw into the end zone. It's caught, not into the end zone, but it's caught down there by Steve Wilson, and Wilson is down to near the 5-yard line, and he is very close to a Chardon 1st down if in fact he does not have it. And I believe that we are going to have timeout for a measurement here.
Yeah, I'll tell you, Wilson is an impressive receiver. Again, CBC has to have an overabundance of those tall receivers. Wilson being 6'5", good target to spot out there, and has those sure hands like those 2 bookend receivers they have at West Jug, Long and Yandell. It's really nice having the luxury of having some tall players out there, and I didn't mention, because he wasn't in on that play, but Brian Wyckoff isn't exactly short himself, being 6'3", so there just seems to be an overabundance in the CVC this season of the long, lanky receivers.
Well, I'll tell you, John, I have never seen so much talent in the CVC ever.
And we haven't seen that many teams yet, Joe.
Yeah, we haven't seen that many teams yet.
Do you know CVC this season, Joe, is 20-4 in out-of-league play?
That's very impressive. And for a league that I remember way back when, during my high school days, got beat pretty routinely in non-conference play. And the give is to Chuck Cox, and Cox takes it down toward the 1-yard line. It was the first down for Chardon. They're knocked down at about the 1. It'll be second and goal from the 1. And Chardon Hilltoppers look like they're really getting their offense in gear now. They're doing pretty much whatever they want with the Chagrin Falls defense. They're passing effectively, they're running effectively, and they're showing pretty good balance.
I think that's the key right there. The passing game opens up the run. It's the fact of having a good passing game. They look for that. You can establish a run off of that.
Here's the give, and well, let's see. We have Scolaris knocked down way, way back outside the 5-yard line. Looked like they were going to try a trick play there. They faked me out. I'll tell you, that was one of the few times I get faked out from up here. They faked me out, but they didn't fake out the Chagrin Falls defense.
No, especially Tom Belshaw, who slid across in his line position, was just waiting and opened up hole there and took it away from Scolaris.
Big loss on the play, takes it back to the 5-yard line, loss of 4, and it'll be third and goal for Chardon at the Chagrin Falls 5 as Howard Joyner brings him up, and Joyner gives the football to Chuck Cox, and he's in for the touchdown. Touchdown Chardon. Chuck Cox taking it right across the goal line on a 5-yard run. Tremendous individual effort by Chuck Cox, and Chardon, with 9:18 to play here in the first half, takes a 6-0 lead.
Like you said, tremendous individual effort. The left side of the Chardon front there, being Bailey and Straczynski, open up a hole to get Chuck Cox there. Met 3 defenders. They dragged the last 3 yards himself. It was just a great effort, smelling the goal line for Cox.
Ed Ash will attempt the extra point for Chardon. The ball is down, the kick is up, and it is good. Ed Ash, not Ed Axe, but Ed Ash puts it straight and true. 7-0 Chardon, 9:18 to play here in the first half. It was Ed Ash who kicked that big field goal at Chardon that beat Youngstown Reign in that major upset a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, that's something Coach Doyle was talking about before the game. One of his strongest defensive weapons he has, he figures, is his kicking game. He's got Wilson on the kickoff, who kicks him high, deep every time. Great punting out of Scolaris, and he's got Ash when they get down there for the field goal and the extra point attempts. He just feels very, very satisfied with the strong kicking game he's got this season.
I think in the 3 years that I've been watching the Chardon Hilltoppers, the thing that impresses me most about their ball clubs, the consistent quality that they have, is outstanding special teams.
Very much so, Joe. Especially we came back with that Dale Backus era where he was just a premier punter and ended up getting a scholarship to Wake Forest for his kicking abilities.
Outstanding place kicker as well.
Yes.
Beside being a fine running back. Steve Wilson to kick it off. It's a high, booming kick taken by Thomas about the 10, 15, 20. He had a lane, but he cut the wrong way, and he's taken down at about the 26-yard line. If he would have just kept going straight up the field, he would have hit the lane, but instead he turned to his left and ran right into a buzzsaw of Chardon players, chief among them, number 57, Chris Stuffelben, and also, I believe, let's see, was in there also Bill Bailey, or not Bill Bailey, yeah, Bill Bailey was also in on the play.
Yeah, Dave Scanlon also helped out on that one. Just good special team work by that Chardon team. Like you mentioned, Joe, that's one of the impressive features they have is good special teams.
1st and 10 for the Chagrin Falls Tigers at their own 26. Ryan Kay to throw, and it's wide and incomplete, intended for number 85, Steve Calder. It'll be second down.
Again, Perry Miklas coming out of his linebacker position was step for step with him covering in the flats area. Just good secondary work by Chardon. I tell you, so far, those 3 wins they have, I can see why they put them on the board. They look like an impressive, much improved team over last year. defensively as well as offensively, showing new looks, just an intensity. They just seem to have a good desire, but then again, they're up against this Chagrin. I expect Chagrin to start opening up a little bit here.
And they also look to me like a very solid and well-balanced ball club. Here's the pitch to Thomas, and Thomas is really stuck hard out there, and I believe the man who stuck him was Chuck Cox.
Yeah.
Not too many players hit like that, and Scott Thomas is really feeling it now as we have a timeout on the field. John, as we've mentioned before, Chagrin Valley Conference so tough and so balanced. Mentioned in the past, there are 5 or 6 teams in this conference that have a legitimate chance of seeing postseason play. I'm not saying that there are going to be 5 or 6 teams from the conference in postseason play, but there are 5 or 6 teams in this conference that I think have a legitimate shot at qualifying at a postseason playoff berth. And that's incredible when you really think about it.
I'd agree with it, Joe. Mainly the fact that they come from a couple of different divisions within the 5-divisional Ohio setup. I'll tell you a few things I just picked out of the paper here. They have, in the Plain Dealer, they list the top 20 teams. There's 4 of them in the top 20 from the CVC. They got Wickliffe ranked 7th, West Jog 11th. This Chardon team we're watching tonight, number 17, and the Orange 19. And that doesn't even take into effect some of the other ones who have legitimate rights to be on that list. It just seems like everybody is rallying around it. Chagrin Valley this year played a lot of Greater Cleveland Conference teams, which is touted as being one of the strongest football conferences around Cleveland.
And beat them with regularity.
That's right, totally dominated them. So we get exciting football here, and again, we're not downplaying East Suburban Conference because they have just great football out there. It's going to be a great football season all around.
Ryan Kay looking for a receiver and not looking very long because he's dumped the ball as loose. So we'll have to see if they call that a fumble. If it is, it's a Chardon football. We will find out here very, very soon. And
I don't see a signal yet.
No, I still don't see a signal.
They're probably discussing.
Oh, yeah, now I see one. Chardon ball. A big turnover for the Chardon Hilltoppers, and they have it 1st and 10 around the 37-yard line of Chagrin.
Yeah, that was a slow signal. I think it was a case of the striped shirts looking at each other to see if they had a better vantage point before they stuck their neck out and committed one way or the other. But there was no whistle blown, and I honestly do believe he was still up in the air when he dropped the ball. He hadn't hit the ground as of yet.
Of course, talking about these 2 ball clubs, Chardon with 3 very impressive victories in the pre-conference season. Chagrin's only loss coming to a very, very tough Hawken team, which is probably among the best teams in the state in their division. The give is to Chuck Cox. Cox takes it across the 30 down to the 29-yard line. Gain of 7. It'll be 2nd down and 3.
Okay, just backing up your statement. I'm loaded with facts tonight, Joe. I can just pull anything you said. The Hawken team. In Division 4, this is the AP poll, not the computer point poll. They rate Gates Mills Hawkins as first place with 167 points versus the second place team, which is 114. So they're clear-cut the best team in their division in the state.
Absolutely. Here's the give to Jeff Palima, that is, turning the corner, and he takes it across the 20 down to about the 19-yard line. And it'll be a 1st down. 1st down again for Chardon, just short of the 20-yard line. I'll tell you, Chardon is really starting to look very, very impressive here. They are really pushing Chagrin Falls around all the way down the field.
And they have that one attribute that I've preached for the last 2 years of what it takes to make a great offensive team is the up front people. You got to have that line. They're blessed with a lot of good backs, but if you have no place for the backs to go, a back can't do it by themselves. You need that line, and Chardon seems to have a fine one this year.
1st and 10 from the 20-yard line, and the give is to Scolaris, and Scolaris is down close to the 10, as a matter of fact. And, in fact, he is very close to another 1st down. It looked like he picked up 8 or 9. He's going to be just a wee bit short, 2nd and short yardage for Chardon.
Mm-hmm. And I think going back again to a statement we made earlier, I think that revised passing attack at Chardon helps a lot with the running game. Because right away it gives those linebackers, secondary people to freeze for just that moment because they got to make sure they read. Historically, you used to be able to just shoot in on Chardon because they would run. You didn't worry about the passing now at all. Now you have to think of Chardon as being capable of throwing a pass, so it freezes you for that moment, which allows a guard or whoever has a charge of the linebackers to get on them, open up the holes a little bit wider, get you a little deeper into the secondary area where the back can do his magic.
Well, we have a timeout on the field, and I'm really impressed by what I see with the Chardon Hilltoppers. There's no getting around it for me. It's been a very, very impressive display of football against a very tough Chagrin Falls team.
That's right, but like our game against Cardinal Berkshire last week, Joe, we can't go by a first half because the game we covered last week, Berkshire was flat out blowing out Cardinal in the first half of football. We thought it was going to be a long evening for Cardinal coming out in for the second half. They ended up turning it completely around, dominating, and made a ball game of it that Berkshire happened to pull out in the last few minutes there to get a win. But
they made it a long evening, but not the kind of long evening we thought it was going to be.
No.
We were there a long time, but we thought it was going to be a long evening that they were going to get drubbed on the scoreboard. It didn't turn out to be that way. Second down and 3 at the 12-yard line. Joyner gives the football to Scaleras, and Scaleras is down inside the 10, down to about the 6-yard line. He has a first and goal. First and goal at the 6 for the Chardon Hilltoppers.
Yeah, Chardon again is moving that ball well, running left, running right. They just seem capable of doing it anyway. And I'd stick to the ground right now. Go back to Doyle's old philosophy of just keep it on the ground, because the ground game is working very, very successfully.
Wake Cobb tight to the left, tight to the right is Wilson. The give is to Scaleras, and he is knocked down immediately in the backfield, and flags will fly. And I believe we're going to have a personal foul, some kind of a personal foul, at least called against the Chagrin Falls Tigers. That's the way it appears right now from this vantage point.
Yeah, I think you could be right there, Joe, and that's a shame. That nullifies a nice defensive play by Adam Leachman, who slid over from his defensive line position and made just an excellent loss tackle for Chardon.
Yep, that's what it is, unsportsmanlike conduct called against Chagrin Falls. And you see Bob Doyle and Gary Hanlon coming out there and talking with the referees. Bob Doyle, of course, the fine coach, and Gary Hanlon, the fine athletic director at Chardon High School. It'll be first and goal as the penalty takes the ball halfway to the goal. First and goal about the 3. 6:04 to play here in the first half. Chardon leads at 7-0. And the Hilltoppers look like they're ready to add another score here against the Chagrin Falls Tigers. In the slot left is Scaleras. In the slot right is Palima. Looks like Rafi Desapeda, number 28, is the lone setback in the backfield. And he gets the call and goes right in for a touchdown. No, that's Perry Miklas. I'm sorry, a touchdown. Perry Miklas scores it for the Chardon Hilltoppers, and it's 13-0 with 5:52 to play here in the first half.
Yeah, I saw a Chardon player go off to the side there. Center Mark Lee. Looks like he might have got his hand stepped on a little bit as he's holding it out. They're putting some ice on it. Hopefully he'll be back in this ball game again real soon. It doesn't seem to be too major of an injury. Flag thrown on that play. I don't know if somebody jumped a little bit early on the Chardon line. They might have to re-kick it again. Procedure, Chardon.
Ed Ash on again to attempt the extra point. And they'll try to make it a 14-0 lead for the Chardon Hilltoppers. In the second quarter, totally and completely dominated by Chardon after a scoreless first quarter.
Yeah, they just got it into gear, started making their matchups and blowing them out on that offensive line, doing a great job up front.
Extra point attempt by Ash is good. That Ash puts it through once again. 5:52 to play here in the first half. It's Chardon 14, Chagrin Falls nothing.
It'll be interesting to see. Chagrin has historically just been a spunky team. They can look down for a while, look like they're almost ready to just be dominated for the game. Come to life. They're a big play team, and maybe on a special teams they might get an excellent return from one of their people or something. But Chagrin has historically been one of those teams that gets a little spark and they just ignite and go crazy on another team. So be interesting to see if they can get something going here in the first half to start getting back some of these points they've lost in the scoreboard thus far.
They've got some very talented players and a very strong offensive ball club, especially. Fine quarterback in Ryan Kay, a fine runner there in Scott Thomas, and also outstanding receivers, T.J. Florkowitz, Steve Calder, Chad Vranick, a very experienced group of receivers also. They were all starters or played a great deal last year. 5:52 to play here in the first half as Steve Wilson kicks it off. It's a high booming kick taken by Thomas at the 10, 15, 20. Cutting to the outside, across the 25, 35, out to about the 33-yard line, actually, we'll call it. That's where Chagrin will have the ball first and 10 at their own 33-yard line, trying to come back from a 14-point deficit here, a little more than midway through the second quarter.
Yeah, they got him a little lane open, but Raffy DeCipeta was the outside contained man there, just held his ground to the sure tackle, and Thomas took him down. Again, well-coached special teams by Chardon out here we're watching tonight.
First and 10 for Chagrin at the Chagrin 33-yard line. Kay giving the ball to Florkowitz on an end around, and T.J. Florkowitz picks up maybe about 3 yards out to the 36-yard line. Mike Scolaris in there on the tackle, number 20. Chuck Cox also came in to help out on the play, second and 7.
I'll tell you, that play illustrated just the quickness and strength of that Chardon defensive front. They pull their left guard out of there. Guards historically, the way they pull is come straight down the line. The Chardon man just was so quick getting out of there. He bumped into him, knocked him back a little bit. Where there's a guard who was pulling, he bumped into the quarterback, threw the timing off of that play a little bit.
4:52 to play here in the first half, and we have flags flying, and I believe we're going to have an infraction against Chagrin Falls for delay of game.
I was wondering if it was lined up in the Newton. No, I guess you're right.
Delay of game against Chagrin, that'll cost them 5, make it second and 12 for the Tigers.
Yeah, it's something they don't need. They just start to get their offense to get the 5-yard gain and all, which they could need. There's still plenty of time, 4:46 in the scoreboard, to get a drive together, get some points back here. They don't need to be pushed back by costly mistakes like that, which a delay is one of those costly mental mistakes.
That's putting it mildly. 4:40 to play here in the first half. Ryan Kay gives the ball on the delayed draw to Thomas. Good play call, and he gets it out to about the 40-yard line. Picked up about 7 on the play. It'll be 3rd and 5.
Yeah, but we're left with a 3rd and long again, which is rough because I think Chardon's going to be a very, very difficult team to pass against this year because they just seem to have a good blanket, quick secondary. They play their zones well, and they have the quickness to come out and help wherever the spots are needed. And this is a passing situation for Chagrin. I think they're going to be a little pressed. This is the type of situation Chagrin should stay away from this whole game long. Vranick
comes to the left. Ryan Kay to throw. The ball is tipped and falls incomplete. And that was a pretty dangerous throw. It could have very easily been intercepted on that carom. Luckily for Ryan Kay, the ball fell into an open spot between 3 Chardon defenders. It'll be 4th down, and Chagrin Falls will be forced to punt.
Yeah, Rob Cinco, coming from his tackle position, just did an excellent job getting his hands up, batting that pass away, and that makes it a lot easier if you got those up front people that can block passes. You don't need the great secondary.
Absolutely. T.J. Florkowitz will punt once again for Chagrin Falls. A low snap. Chardon is coming. He barely gets it away. Ball hit at the 35, roll inside the 30, 25, and Howard Joyner takes it at the 23 and gets slaughtered right there. It'll be 1st and 10 at the 23-yard line.
Yeah, I think Chardon, well, there's 3:48 left. I suppose they're just running their regular offense, trying to get that ball downfield. I was thinking we were a little closer to halftime where they might just sit on that ball and take the 14-point lead into halftime, but there's plenty of time left. I'm sure they're just going to run their regular offense. No need to rush it or anything. You can just play it nice and safe.
1st and 10 at the 23, we'll call it, for Chardon as Howard Joyner brings them up. Mike Scolaris in the slot left. In the slot right out there, it's number 40, Rafi DeCipeta. And the give is to Chuck, well, is that Chuck Cox? Yeah, I think that's Chuck Cox who carried the ball for about 2. It'll be 2nd down, and we'll call it 7 for Chardon.
Yeah, I see Chagrin starting to jump around a little bit on their defensive fronts, which is the smart thing to do. If you got a good offensive line in front of you, the quick shifts like that might throw the blocking schemes off where you can plug up holes, not having the offensive people geared for the quick reaction of getting the proper blocks. That's the smartest thing to do when you got a good offensive line in front of you.
Here's the give to Scolaris, running through that right side once again, and again a big gainer. He's out across the 35 to about the 37, and he's got a first down. 1st and 10 for Chardon. Actually, they call the ball down closer to the 35-yard line. 1st and 10 for the Hilltoppers at the Chardon 35.
Yeah, they seem to have favorite sides for each of their running backs. The right side seems to be Scolaris' favorite side. Cox seems to prefer getting his best gains coming off of the left side. Either way, they're getting good gains out of the same up front people.
Here's the give to Scolaris. Scolaris out to the 40, maybe the 41-yard line. He's knocked down there by a horde of tacklers. Chief among them, number 70, Judd Woodward. It'll be 2nd and 7.
Yeah, I'd like to mention, I mentioned the fact that Mark Lee getting his hands stepped on or whatever happened to him. He's back in the game, and I saw him on that play. He drove his guy back about 6 yards. So not only is he back, but he's doing very, very effective blocking up front.
2nd down and 7 at the 40-yard line. Scolaris in the slot left, comes in motion right. Howard Joyner rolling under pressure, going long down the sideline. He's got a man, and Rafi Desapeta has the football. He's got it down inside the 30 at about the 29-yard line. It's a Chardon first down.
Boy, I'll tell you something impressive on that play was the defender had Rafi step for step till the ball was in the air. Then Rafi seemed to have that high gear because all of a sudden he shot by him. And he even had time. He was so far ahead of him to wait for the ball, which was a little bit underthrown. Excellent, excellent adjustment work and great speed by Desapeta on that particular play.
No question about it. 1:44 to play here in the first half as Howard Joyner brings up the Chardon Hilltoppers on 1st and 10 at the 29-yard line. Here's the give to the second man through Scolaris. And once again, Mike Scolaris rambles through a big hole inside the 25 down to about the 24. It'll be 2nd down. Let's call it about 4 yards to go.
Yeah, Chardon is moving the ball. They're down to 121 now. They're well within range down around, what are they, on about 15 or so, Joe?
Exactly.
Yeah, moving the ball in, and timeout for Chardon. I guess they want to figure out how to save that last 1 minute, 12 seconds to try to get at least 3 points, if not more, out of this thing. I'm sure they're gearing for the touchdown. That's why the timeout was taken.
That's the second timeout that Chardon has used in this first half. They still have one remaining,
which they may need for the field goal attempts, should it come to that point.
Or if they get stuck in a situation where they have to stop the clock to try another play, that's a strong possibility. You know, we were talking about something earlier. All 8 coaches in the Chagrin Valley Conference with lifetime winning percentages of 600 or above. That's an incredible statistic. You know that? It really is amazing.
Would you like to hear the exact percentages, Joe? I told you, I'm Mr. Statistic
I
tonight.
suppose you have that too, John. Go right ahead.
Could you stall for a hair while I find it?
Yeah.
Okay, we got Chapman at West Jaga has a 76% winning percentage, 123 victories. Currents at Twinsburg has 82% with 128 victories. Kenston's Paul Kabbalah has 75% with 12 victories, being just a 2-year coach. Chagrin Falls Pei has 69 with 178 wins. Solon's Ruvalo, 121, 69%. Now finish off the rest of the coaches after this play.
2nd down and about 3 for the Chardon Hilltoppers. Joyner to throw, wants to go across the other side of the field, and play did not materialize the way he wanted to, and he really threw it away. In fact, he threw it literally all the way into the stands.
Yeah, that was a 3rd row shot. But it was a smart play, Joe, because he was setting up the screen. Chagrin read it, came across, and there was no place for that play to go. Joyner did the smart thing in throwing the ball away.
If he had tried to get the ball to that man, it would have been either an interception or a big loss.
Okay, finishing off the coaches. Wycliffe's Rosnick has 63 wins, 67%. Chardon's Doyle, 51 wins, 63%. And Orange's Riesland, 81 wins and 61%. That's the lowest winning percentage in CVC for coaches.
Third down, here comes a trick play. The pass for Howard Joyner from Palaima, and Joyner was wide open and would have scored, but Palaima let him a little too much, and instead it's fourth down.
Yeah, that was the old Landry, I believe, ran that play many times with his quarterbacks. Or was it Shula? Which one? Was it Dallas or Miami?
They've both run it, I think.
But who was the first?
I think Shula ran it first.
Okay, then that's where you give credit. Like the ball laid on the ground goes to Nebraska.
Yeah, exactly.
Even Earl Bruce tried that play, but it goes to Nebraska.
Anyway, right now we've got a situation. It's 4th and 3, and Steve Wilson will try to give Chardon a 17-point lead. This will be about a 32-yard field goal attempt. The ball is down. The kick is up, and it is badly wide to the right and no good. So Wilson failing on the field goal attempt, and Chagrin Falls will take over with 54 seconds to play in the half, trailing 14-0, and they will have the ball 1st and 10 at their own 20-yard line.
Yeah, I'm a little surprised it was Wilson on that attempt. As I understand it, they keep Wilson for the very long attempts. Ash is their more accurate kicker. Wilson has the long leg. So they bring him in on the special long if they want to try a 40-plus field goal. That seemed like it should have been in Ash's range, though. Maybe he pulled a little leg muscle or something, wasn't capable of kicking. We'll have to watch for that later on extra point attempts.
Apparently they feel possibly they feel that Ash might be a 30 or less man. And if they go over 30, then they go right to Wilson.
Maybe that's what it is, Joe.
Possible. 1st and 10 at the 20-yard line. Ryan Kay gives the ball on the draw to Thomas. A big hole. 40, 45. Across midfield. Well, right at midfield. He is thrown down by the Chardon defense. Finally stopped there by Brian Wacob. It is 1st and 10 at midfield, and of course the Chardon Hilltoppers looking for the pass. Scott Thomas on the draw, got right through a hole right in the middle of the line, caught everybody going the other way, had a big gainer.
That was an excellent play call. Gets the ball down the field because Chagrin started out a little bit in a hole. Get you good field position so you can get up here, a little more room to move, or you don't have to worry about the shadow of your goal line. And it also, once you got one of those quick backs that can get out in the open there, juking type of runner, it's possible you can break one of those all the way where it's just on a one-on-one situation. Good play calling by Coach John Payai. Shows why he has that winning percentage for his career.
Once again, going back to the old John and Joe school of football here, you can use the pass to set up the run. A lot of times you get in a passing situation like Chagrin Falls had there, or if you're throwing the ball a lot and successfully, that draw, where everything looks like a pass until that running back gets the ball in his hands. You catch those defensive linemen and anybody who's blitzing going the wrong way, and boom, you got a guy in the secondary before you know it. 1st and 10 at midfield. Wide to the right is Chad Veranek, in the slot right, TJ Florkowitz. Ryan Kay to throw, standing straight in the pocket, and it's dropped by Thomas at the 46. Somebody busted a pattern because Thomas and Florkowitz were no more than a step apart.
Yeah, it was like a trailing back. As a matter of fact, I'm wondering if that might not have been one of those plays where they do that. Have a ball received, another back come behind just as you're tackled. You pitch it out to him, and he goes on the outside down.
It's possible that it might have been a pick play they had designed, but of course we know that nobody would ever do an illegal thing like that, don't we, John?
I'm sure of that, especially not in this fine league of Chagrin Valley Conference.
Wide to the right comes Veranek, in the slot right is TJ Florkowitz. The give on the draw, and then this time the Chardon Hilltoppers were ready. Jolly on the spot to make the tackle, Brian Wacob. It'll be 3rd and 10, and Chagrin Falls is going to try to get it out of the shotgun, or not out of the shotgun, but the hurry-up offense quickly. 3rd down and 10, and that pass is caught by Veranek. He runs out of bounds to the 43. It'll be 4th and 3, 15 seconds left on the clock, and I would think that Chagrin Falls would have to have one more completion to get into field goal range for Florkowitz, although he does have a major league leg at 60 yards. It's a little far, and I would think that they would have to get a completion on this 4th down play, get a 1st down, stop the clock, and then let him try it.
Yeah, I'd say they have to at least get down to 30 yards, almost 2 completions, Joe. They need 13 yards, and you need to use those sidelines, too, to get out so you can save time for your field goal kicker to get on the field.
Wind is going against him a little, and the ball is loose. And a break, actually, for Chagrin Falls as the ball hit a referee and bounced back, and that gave Ryan Kay enough time to jump on the man who recovered his fumble there, Dave Scanlon. Chardon on the turnover. Of course, they would have taken it over anyway because it was a 4th down play. They have the football 1st and 10 at the Chagrin 44 with 10 seconds left in the half.
Like you said, Joe, I think that was a break, because it's possible the ball might have bounced in the air where Chardon could have picked it up and ran it right on into the end zone. But it kind of died after hitting the referee.
Absolutely, and now that's the end of the first half, as the Chardon Hilltoppers deciding to simply let the clock run out. We've gone through one half of play here at C.S. Harris Stadium in Chagrin Falls, Ohio, with our score. The Chardon Hilltoppers 14, the Chagrin Falls Tigers nothing. Enjoy the fine performances of the Chardon and Chagrin Falls bands. We'll be back with those bands here on Cablevision.
Chrysler has always meant comfort and luxury. Chrysler today means Lee Iacocca, convertibles, the best built cars in America, turbochargers, and advanced engineering, the best warranty, and comfort and luxury. Since 1931, Junction Auto Sales has meant dependability and service. We are proud Chrysler has awarded us their 5-star award for excellence more than anyone else in Northeast Ohio. For Chrysler excitement, dependable service, and great deals, see Junction Auto Sales at 322 and 44. You'll be glad you did.
America's Cup to the NFL, nothing else means total sports more than ESPN.
Chrysler has always meant comfort and luxury. Chrysler today means Lee Iacocca, convertibles, the best built cars in America, turbochargers, and advanced engineering, the best warranty, and comfort and luxury. Since 1931, Junction Auto Sales has meant dependability and service. We are proud Chrysler has awarded us their 5-star award for excellence more than anyone else in Northeast Ohio. For Chrysler excitement, dependable service, and great deals, see Junction Auto Sales at 322 and 44. You'll be glad you did.
From the America's Cup to the NFL, nothing else means total sports more than ESPN.
Joe Scarola back here with John Walsh at C.S. Harris Stadium in Chagrin Falls, Ohio. And the Chardon Hilltoppers, after a very impressive display of football in the first half, lead the Chagrin Falls Tigers by a score of 14-0. John Walsh, your first half observations, sir.
Okay, one observation that I was asked to make by one of the gracious people from the Chardon side was that the Topperettes, that synchronetic dancing ensemble that goes with the band, is going to be at the Peach Bowl this year, and the girls are all excited about that, and they're getting a lot of revenue-generating projects in order to try to send them down there. Observation on the first half as far as the play on the football field. It was a well-played first half. Chagrin had problems establishing their offense. I think the main problem being was that Chardon's defense was on the field because they did just an outstanding job dominating the game. Offensively for Chardon, their offensive line was just great. That's about the only word you can use for it. They did a great job of nullifying, pushing their people out of the way, offering good pass protection. The backs ran their patterns good. The offensive ends ran tight, good, solid patterns. Everything just gelled. Chardon dominated the first half, but I'm looking for Chagrin to make the adjustments they need after what they've seen in this first half and come back and make more of a ball game of this.
And I think they're certainly capable of doing it, but we'll find out whether they do. Chardon will get the ball first in this second half. T.J. Florkowitz will kick it off to 3 deep men, and none of them will see the ball, and we have some flags. Must have been an offside against Chagrin killing that play.
Yeah, it had to be, I guess. The flag's lying right up there by their kicking tee almost. You got a procedure. That's exactly what it was, Joe. Bad mental mistake to start out. It's probably a case of Chagrin players wanting to get back into this game really strongly and just being a little over-aggressive, going for that extra step to get to the Chardon receiver.
T.J. Florkowitz will kick it off again, except this time from 5 yards further back up the field. A few folks out there, we were talking about the Topperettes just a minute ago going to the Peach Bowl, and they're trying to raise money. Some of you folks down there in Chardon who are involved in that, if you can get us an address or some other place where people can send donations, let us know, because we'd like to let our viewers know about that. Certainly, it's the kind of thing that we'd like to do. That ball will go out of bounds also, and another flag flies, and T.J. Florkowitz will kick it off from 5 yards further downfield. He'll be doing it from the 30 this time.
Yeah, I don't really know what Florkowitz is doing. It's like he's trying to avoid somebody, and nobody from Chardon tonight has had that great kickoff return. Seems like he's trying to kick it off to the left to avoid somebody who's on Chardon's right side there. Or the first one was a squib to keep from the long run back. I don't really know why, because Chardon hasn't had an outstanding run yet tonight.
Not that we've seen. Possibly something in the films that we did not see that may have led the coaching staff from Chagrin Falls to adopt this type of a strategy. Anyway, T.J. Florkowitz will kick it off again, this time from the 30-yard line after an offside penalty and an illegal procedure penalty from the ball being kicked out of bounds. And that's a higher, deeper kick. It's taken down there by a couple of, that's number 38 for the Chardon Hilltoppers, Willie Bibb, and Willie Bibb takes it out to about the 45-yard line. Well, actually, the strategy of Chagrin Falls at that particular point, self-defeating. They wanted to stop the long run back And even though they didn't get a long run back, they wound up with the football at the 45-yard line. Chardon has excellent field position. 1st and 10 at their own 45.
Yeah, that was a transfer student, Willie Bibb, who transferred from Cleveland Heights to Chardon this year. Chardon has great luck with transfers. They had another one transfer from down in Texas, and he's been doing just an outstanding job for Chardon, his name being Chris Stuffelbun. Just doing a great job on that defensive end position for Chardon.
And of course, don't forget Mike Lynn, a fine running back for the Chardon Hilltoppers, who has now graduated, but he was a transfer from Lake Catholic and did very well for the Chardon Hilltoppers for a couple of years. 1st and 10 at the 45-yard line. Palaima in the slot left, in the slot right. Well, anyway, the give will go to Chuck Cox, and Chuck Cox gets a hole across midfield to about the 48-yard line, knocked down by a horde of tacklers. Chief among them, number 42, Matt Stanton, and number 70, Judd Woodward. It'll be 2nd down and about 4.
I guess we'd be a little remiss, Joe, if we didn't remind these people that don't turn your sets off. Immediately following this game, they'll be showing the Solon-Kenston game in its entirety, so you have another opportunity to see back-to-back CBC action this week.
Absolutely. I'll tell you one thing you won't see immediately following this game. Chuck Cox coming across the 40 and down to about the 37-yard line. He's got a 1st down. One thing you will not be seeing immediately following this game is the Cleveland Browns.
Yes. Hopefully not too far immediately following this game.
Yes.
And Cox is just tremendous shooting out of these quick first steps to get himself up to the line, hits the holes rather quickly, and then just as a bull dragging people into there. What a heck of a fullback they picked up in Cox here, transferring him over where he plays his linebacker and the fullback position.
Going both ways with abandon, and he takes the football again and drives it down close to the 30. Picked up about 7. Tom Belshaw and Judd Woodward tackled him. It'll be 2nd and 3.
Tell you something else this offensive line does. They open up the big hole, but then you see them blocking on secondary people. They're hitting safeties and all that. Continuing downfield, aiding to get things going a little bit. That's an impressive offensive line. I'm very, very impressed with that. And like I've always said, Joe, that's the basis of a football team, a strong offensive line.
2nd down and about 3, and the give is to Chuck Cox, and he picks up about 2 down to the 28. He's knocked down there by Cliff Strickland, number 50. A gain of a couple. It'll be 3rd down, very short yardage for Chardon, about 3rd and 1.
It looks like Coach Doyle's philosophy going into the second half here is just keep handing the ball to Cox till they finally stop him. And so far they haven't been able to. He's just bulling his way in, getting great yardage, moving that ball down the field for Chardon.
Since we've got some filler time here, and we were just on the subject of the Browns, John, you were telling me an interesting anecdote here before the game. Apparently you were in Cincinnati for a trade show earlier this week. And you were staying at the same hotel with where the Cincinnati Bengals scabs were headquartered.
I'm sure they like to be referred to as replacement personnel, Joe.
Yes, replacement personnel. And some interesting things went on there, I guess.
Yeah, I saw them after they arrived back from the training site where they had taken their physicals on Tuesday and were going in line into their room area or for additional meetings. I'm not sure what they were really doing. And a lot of the current Bengals or the old-time Bengals were in the lobby there, and there was a little bit of interaction between the old and the new, and they were calling each other some rather graphic names. And it was very, very interesting. I definitely moved out of the way. I didn't want to get sandwiched between a couple of 300-pound linemen or something like that because I couldn't see the need for it, but I definitely was there to watch the action. It just ended up being a lot of banter between the two groups.
You didn't get to see Boomer step in front of the bus, huh?
I didn't see Boomer there at all, and quite honestly, I didn't recognize any of the players, not being a Bengals follower. If it was Browns, I probably would have recognized a lot of the individuals, but it was huge human beings is what it was from both sides.
I heard earlier in the week, I guess, that Boomer tried to single-handedly stop a bus with replacement players from getting into Riverfront Stadium. That must have been interesting. I mean, Boomer, you're a pretty big guy, but I don't think you could stop the bus, pal. That'd be pretty tough.
Okay, we're about ready to get back into action here. Yeah, they just keep moving that ball down the field. Chagrin, so far I haven't seen any adjustment they've made to stop the offense of Chardon. I thought they might have moved their linebackers around a little bit to position themselves for filling those holes, but they don't seem to be making any sort of adjustment at all. We'll have to see what they do.
Looks like they've come out in exactly the same defensive sets, defensive formations that they used in the first half that were not very effective for them, especially in the second quarter.
Yeah, which surprises me. In other games we've covered Chagrin, it almost seems like a new team comes on the field in the second half. This time I don't see the adjustment. Maybe Coach Pei just looked and said, you guys are just man for man getting beat. I don't know really what to do. It might be a case of a strong Chardon team where he doesn't know what to adjust, or he's just hoping a good pep talk will get the boys to just dig a little deeper and come up with the adjustments internally.
It'll be third down for Chardon. We'll call it 6 yards to go for the Hilltoppers. Scolaris in the slot left. He comes in motion, takes the ball across to the right. He's hit in the backfield and thrown down. An outstanding individual play by Bill Henderson, number 61, who tripped him up in the backfield. And he had some help finally on the tackle from Mark Derry, number 27, finally came in and finished him off. It'll be fourth down, and that'll bring up a punting situation, I believe, for the Chardon Hilltoppers as they have the ball back around the 33-yard line.
Yeah, like you said, Henderson did just knife in and toss the ball carrier for Chardon for a loss there. It was an excellent play. That's about the third time tonight I can remember that he's knifed through and tossed the ball carrier for a loss. Good defensive line work by Bill Henderson.
High snap, and Scolaris barely gets the ball away, hits it in the coffin corner, and it's going to roll out of bounds inside the 5. It's going to roll out of bounds around the 3-yard line, and that's where Chagrin Falls will have it. Actually, they'll mark it closer to the 5, it looks like, from here. But Chagrin Falls will have it very deep in their own territory with 8:16 to play here in the third quarter. And the might be time here to say hello to some of our friends out there watching Cablevision this evening. Chris Vallada told me he was going to be tuning in tonight. I guess Chris is living out in the Chardon area now. A great football player at Gilmore Academy back in the late 70s, one of 5 football-playing brothers, 4 of whom played Division I in college. Saw Chris at the Gilmore Alumni Weekend over the weekend. Chris and his brother John, who was one of my contemporaries back in my Gilmore days, and he said he was going to enjoy doing that. His second down and 10 is going to be tuning in watching us tonight. Bud Weber here at the game. You might remember Bud's son Marty, who played for Chagrin Falls, enjoying the action, and probably a few other people out there too. Second down and 10. Ryan Kay brings them up. Wide to the left is Veranek. And in the slot left is T.J. Florkowitz. Kay pitches the ball to Scott Thomas. Thomas cutting across the 10 out to about the 13-yard line. It'll be third down for Chagrin Falls.
I tell you, those 2 defensive ends for Chardon, Chris Stuffelbaum and Dave Scanlon, are just doing an outstanding job. Thomas has tried sweeping to the outside 5-6 times tonight both ways, and he just can't get outside. They stuff the holes real good, box in, cornerbacks shoot up from their position, seal it off. There's just no getting outside on this defense for Chardon tonight.
Third down and 6 for Chagrin Falls. Wide to the right comes Chad Veranek. And inside of him is T.J. Florkowitz. And in the backfield, up is number 44, Dave McDonald. Back, number 33, Scott Thomas. The give on the delay to Thomas, and he is bowled up and stopped nowhere near a first down. Might have picked up a couple. It'll be fourth and about 4, and it'll be punting time for the Chagrin Falls Tigers, and T.J. Florkowitz will have to boom Chagrin Falls out of a hole right here. And, John, I'll tell you, whatever the Chagrin Falls coaches tried to adjust at halftime against this Chardon defense, it hasn't made much impact thus far.
No, it hasn't at all. One thing I'm happy to report here, Joe, is on that last carry by Chuck Cox, he went out of the game with an injury, and he went out with weight only on one foot, favoring the other one. I'm happy to report that he is on the sidelines walking around getting it back, so I don't guess that it is a serious injury, and that's really good to see.
Maybe a slight sprain, something along that line. You know, it's been a very interesting season thus far. Of course, we had that barn burner last week with Cardinal and Berkshire, and our opening telecast of this season, a very, very fine ball game between Brush and West Geauga, with West Geauga pulling out that victory in the last minute of play. Trying to see if we can make it 3 for 3 with some exciting finishes here for all the folks out in the TV audience. And as John mentioned, you will see the Solon-Kenston game immediately after this ball game, a CVC doubleheader tonight on Cablevision. So, you know, it's too bad the Browns aren't going to be on TV, but we'll try to do something to fill the void to some extent. TJ Florkowitz ready to punt. Chardon Hilltoppers are coming, and he got off a terrible, terrible punt. We'll see where the referees mark it out of bounds, and it looks like they're going to mark it out at about they're still walking it off, about the 27. Going to mark it out about the 27-yard line, an 11-yard kick. Very rare occurrence for TJ Florkowitz. That couldn't have come at a worse time for the Chagrin Falls Tigers. Chardon will have exceptional field position, 1st and 10 at the Chagrin 27.
Yeah, defensive Florkowitz on that one. That punt could be attributed to him having to hurry quite a bit because Chardon had a heck of a rush on that time and got real close to blocking that punt. Florkowitz was lucky just to get it off, period.
1st and 10 from the 27, and the give is to Scolaris, and Scolaris is down close to the 20-yard line. Cliff Strickland to stop them. It'll be 2nd down, short yardage for the Hilltoppers.
Boy, that offensive line again opened up a big hole on the left side where Scolaris could just dance through it. Again, that was run over to Bill Bailey, Straczynski, Brian Wyckoff tackle area, right in through that little group there. Those 3 end tackle guard are just blowing people out of there, opening up just big gaping holes for the ball carriers go through.
2nd down and about 5. And the give is to Palaima, and he's wrapped up in the backfield for a loss. Excellent penetration by the Chagrin defense. In particular, down there, the man at the bottom of the pile, and I believe that was Adam Leckman, number 67. TJ Florkowitz also in on the tackle. It'll be 3rd down, loss of about 3 on the play. 3rd and 8 at the 25-yard line.
Yeah, we have had good play by that defensive front of Chagrin tonight. Henderson's been in the backfield a few times, makes some tackles. That's about the 2nd or 3rd time. I remember Leachman coming across and doing it. Belshaw has done an outstanding job, as has Judd Woodward.
3rd down and about 8. Joyner under heavy pressure, and he is going to be thrown down for a big loss back around the 38-yard line. We also had a flag on the play. I believe that's going to be against Chardon for a hold. Adam Leachman right there on the tackle again. And I believe that we are going to have a holding penalty against Chardon, which would be declined by Chagrin Falls. They will take the play and force Chardon to punt. Back in the 38-yard line.
I would have to guess that's what it is. Chagrin had a heck of a charge on that time. There was about 4 Chardon defenders there. All of a sudden the flag was coming after the Chagrin people broke through. I'm sure that was a case of him grabbing hold of it and just Tom Belshaw just breaking through and getting quarterback Joyner. That's an obvious, like you said, Joe, decline. Loss will be bigger than the penalty, plus you get the down taken away.
First time I've had an opportunity to say it tonight. 4th and forever at the 38-yard line. And we are going to see a Chardon punt as the Hilltoppers face 4th and forever. And Mike Scolaris, who did a good job of sticking Chagrin Falls in the coffin corner on his previous punting attempt, will try it again. And this time the Tigers are coming. A low snap. He barely got it away. Chad Veranek deep waiting for it with Florkowitz. It's going to take a high bounce and be killed by Chardon right at the 10-yard line. And Chagrin Falls once again will have horrible field position at the 10, and they won't have any field position at all because they've been called for roughing the kicker, and that will give the football back to the Chardon Hilltoppers.
Yeah, it's a shame that something like that, but Chagrin's looking right now to make that big play, make something happen to get themselves back into this game because they knew they were going to be down in a hole. Scolaris again did an excellent punting job, getting that ball down deep, hanging it up high, doing the shortness, not trying to kick for length, kicking for position. Did an excellent job on that. Chardon gets the ball back in excellent field position. See if they can push it into the end zone.
Well, Chardon getting a break here. 1st and 10 for the Hilltoppers. After that penalty, 1st and 10 at the 24-yard line. Brian Wacob wide to the right. Tight to the right is Steve Wilson. In motion right is Scolaris. He gets the football, breaks a tackle, and gets down to about the 20-yard line. Stopped there by Cliff Strickland. Also Mark Derry in on the play. It'll be second down, about 6.
Yeah, and again, that quickness of that offensive line. There were 3 people that pulled on that, were lead blocking to get Scolaris around that corner. Chagrin defensed it well to keep him from getting to the corner. Scolaris did a good job cutting it back against the grain into the inside there where he could get a good gain out of the play.
Well, they've really made a lot of hay on the right side of that Chagrin Falls defense tonight. Actually, it's the left side of the Chagrin defense. We're just kind of looking at it from left to right. And coming to the other side now, the Chardon Hilltoppers without a great deal of success. The ball carrier, Jeff Palima, he picked up about a yard. It'll be third down.
Yeah, but again, they're moving the ball well, and more importantly, they're keeping the ball. Or, in essence, not necessarily them keeping it, but keeping it away from Chagrin. Because they get the lead. They can play with it. The clock's in their corner. The more time eaten up on all of this is the better for Chardon right now. What they have to do is keep the ball away from Chagrin so they can't get any points on that board.
Third down and about 3. Joyner keeping the ball. Oh, no, he didn't keep the ball on the option. Faked me out again. And taking it right through the middle there was Palima, and he picks up a first down.
Yeah, again, Joyner with excellent ball handling, carrying out his fake afterwards, which fooled usually sure-sighted Joe Scarola on that particular play. Good gain. Perry Miklas taking the ball up the middle there, getting a good gain, making it a first and goal situation for Chardon.
From a man who survived, a few years of football by not being faked out, I've shown a new wrinkle here tonight. Scolaris takes the football down around the 5-yard line, and it'll be second and goal.
Yeah, that, again, is a tribute to Joyner's ball handling ability, Joe, because he really is one of those people that's a magician. We saw in the opening game, Feldman and Schmidt in the West Jaga Brush game were excellent ball handling quarterbacks. Many times I was following some of their fakes and all that also, but I don't do play-by-play, so I can read it a little later. I don't get caught on the air with those.
Oh, you're so kind, John. Well, somebody got caught by a snap count, and I think the man who was caught by the snap count was Judd Woodward because he jumped offside. A little bit of early anticipation, and it'll be second and goal, a little bit shorter for the Chardon Hilltoppers.
Yeah, it's again a case of trying to make that big play to push them back because Chardon's down there knocking on the door of the goal line. You want to keep them back, and the quickest way is to knock them back for an appreciable loss, to at least get them out of touchdown range, hopefully hold them to the 3 points because Chardon's well in the Chagrin area now.
Chardon 14, Chagrin Falls nothing, and we have a scramble, and in fact we may have had a fumble on the play, I'm not sure. Trying to look down there and see what happened. Howard Joyner keeping the ball himself, tackled by a horde, a veritable horde of Chagrin Falls tacklers. He was stopped short of the goal line. He may have fumbled it, but if he did fumble it, he recovered it. It'll be third down.
Yeah, they are. They're right on the mouth of the goal line right now. Sitting there third down. It'd be interesting to see what the play call is on this particular play.
Third and goal. They're actually inside the 1-yard line. Clock running, 1:55 to play in the third quarter. Howard Joyner gives the football to Scolaris, and Scolaris is in for the touchdown. Mike Scolaris scoring from 1 yard out, and Chardon leads it 20-0 with 1:49 to play here in the third quarter.
I'll tell you, there was a Chagrin player that met him just as he crossed the plate at that goal line and just leveled Scolaris, but it was a big hole open up again on that right side of that line, coming over Scanlon and Ed Ash in that particular play. Good up front blocking by that Chardon group.
Ed Ash will attempt the extra point. In to hold for Chardon is David Toaddy, number 16. And the ball is down, the kick is up, and it is good. So Ed Ash hits another extra point. Timeout on the field, 1:49 to play here in the third quarter. It's Chardon 21, Chagrin Falls nothing.
Yeah, I'm afraid, Joe, that Chagrin has reached the point where they got to start airing that ball a little bit with it's going to be a little rough with that good secondary and the good pass rush by that Chardon group, especially coming out of those 2 defensive tackles. They have Cinco and Wyckoff, who just do an outstanding job, make that defensive line what it is. It's going to be rough putting the ball in the air when you have to put. The defense knows you have to put because you got 3 touchdowns you have to put on the board in a quarter and 1 minute 49 left in this. That's not that much time. You almost have to go for big plays right now.
Absolutely. 1:49 to play here in the third quarter. 21-0. The score in favor of the Chardon Hilltoppers. Steve Wilson will kick it off once again for Chardon. Deep to receive for Chagrin Falls, the triumvirate of Mark Derry, number 27. Also number 33, Scott Thomas. And number 42, Matt Stanton. Deep to receive this kick from Steve Wilson. It's been a pretty quick ball game here tonight at Chagrin Falls, and it has been a very impressive performance by the Chardon Hilltoppers. Scott Thomas taking it at the 10, 15, 20, breaks a couple of tackles. A shifty little runner, Scott Thomas. Pretty quick man across the 30 out to the 31-yard line. Finally stopped there, I believe, by Jeff Palima. No, it's not Jeff Palima. Excuse me. It's number 33, Ray Davies, who made the tackle, not 32. First and 10, just across the 30 at about the 31-yard line. 1:39 to play here in the third quarter as Ryan Kay brings the Chagrin Tigers out of the huddle. Tight to the right is Steve Calder, number 85. Wide to the left is Chad Veranek in the slot. Florkowitz, Kay to throw. His pass is caught. It's caught there by Veranek across the 40 out to about the 43-yard line. He picked up 13 yards, and that'll be good for a Chagrin first down. First and 10 for Chagrin Falls at the Chagrin 43-yard line.
Yeah, that Ray Davies that you just mentioned that made that tackle, he's somebody that Coach Doyle is very impressed with. He's staying in, playing a monster position right now, only as a sophomore, too. And it's rough on a fine squad like the Hilltoppers have here to break in as a sophomore, get any playing time at all, much less be on the field in a starting role.
Kay dropping to throw once again. He's got a man on the sideline. Chad Veranek makes a good move and takes it all the way to the Chardon 44-yard line. Stopped down there by Ed Ash. I believe Jeff Palima also came over to help on the tackles. First and 10 from the 44.
Yeah, Kay's doing a good job of putting that ball in the air right now because, like I mentioned, this is, I believe, from what I've seen, this is a tough defense to pass against, and he's doing a good job knowing that the ball is going to be put in the air. That makes it doubly difficult to pass against the team.
First and 10 from the 45, actually, they'll call it now, and Ryan Kay wants a timeout.
Yeah, he had to waste the timeout on that one. We had a problem with personnel. All of a sudden he looked, and either the right people weren't on the field or there weren't enough people on the field at the moment. But that was one of those wasted timeouts because the proper people didn't get out there in time.
I just got a good look there at John Payai, and he is not amused that Chagrin Falls was forced to take this timeout at this particular time.
No, because you want to save those because they're in a behind situation right now where the timeouts are going to come into play if they're going to get back into it, because you got to chip away, grab the points wherever you can, and finally you're down to the closing minutes, and that's when it's important to have all three timeouts, and one of them are gone just because the proper people didn't get on the field. I imagine he would be upset, Joe.
Yeah, I would be too if I were in the same situation. 44 seconds to play here in the third quarter. Chagrin Falls with the football, first and 10 at the Chardon 45-yard line. Hilltoppers leading this ball game 21-0.
Yeah, well, I'm sorry, Joe.
Go ahead, John.
Yeah, I was just going to update people on how the conferences are doing record-wise now, but the play's back in action. I'll get it after this play.
First and 10 from the 45. Wide to the right is Veranek. Kay under heavy pressure, and he's hit and dropped at the 48-yard line. Hit and dropped there by Big Brian Wakeup, number 86. Back at the 49 at second and 16.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about. Great secondary plus an awesome rush coming out of the quickness of that Chardon defensive front. It's going to be rough for him to pass like that. Chagrin Valley Conference. Here's the records after 3 weeks of play, and it's easy. I can group teams. You got Chardon, Orange, West Jogga, Wycliffe, all 3-0. And then Chagrin, Kenston, Solon, Twinsburg, all 2-1. It's very easy to read scores when you got the records so identical.
I got that right. Here's the give to Scott Thomas. Big hole, 45. Still on his feet and finally downed around the 41-yard line. He picked up quite a bit of yardage on that play. Got a lot of the loss back, plus about 4 yards. Picked up 10. It'll be 3rd and 6 from the 41 for Chagrin Falls.
Yeah, it was a good play call again, but a dangerous one. Kay just barely got that handoff. Had a good pass rush coming in. Really took a shot after the play.
And that's the end of the third quarter.
Chrysler has always meant comfort and luxury. Chrysler today means Lee Iacocca, convertibles, the best built cars in America, turbochargers, and advanced engineering, the best warranty, and comfort and luxury. Since 1931, Junction Auto Sales has meant dependability and service. We are proud Chrysler has awarded us their 5-star award for excellence more than anyone else in Northeast Ohio. For Chrysler excitement, dependable service, and great deals, see Junction Auto Sales at 322 and 44. You'll be glad you did.
You've got a smile so bright. Lifetime's here to make it brighter. And if it's day or night, you know we make it all exciting. Yeah, now there's a network that's just for you, and it's Lifetime. To help you do the thing you do. We help you do the thing.
Lifetime. We help you do the things you do.
Joe Scarola with John Walsh back here at C.S. Harris Stadium in Chagrin Falls, Ohio. We have a new quarterback for the Chagrin Tigers, and that new quarterback is number 12, Steve Blair, and his first pass of the ball game was nearly intercepted by Ray Davies. It'll bring up 4th down for Chagrin.
Yeah, it's rough to come in cold out of the bench, being forced immediately into that passing attack that Chagrin has to have at this point in the game. You're just not geared for, being in on the action of the game. You're cold coming off the bench like that, being called into service. It's a rough chore to be called on that throw successful pass. He was almost intercepted on his first attempt by Plima.
Apparently, Kay had some sort of an equipment problem because he is backed in for this 4th down play, 4th and 6, throwing it down the middle. It is tipped and almost intercepted, and it won't make any difference because Chardon will take over the ball on downs, 1st and 10 at their own 41-yard line.
Yeah, Jeff Plima on that one almost had back-to-back interceptions coming out of his safety position. Just tight coverage and a man coming deep in his area, almost picked off the ball twice.
1st and 10 from the 41-yard line.
Okay, going to the East Suburban Conference records after, we're in the midst right now of Week 4. This being played on Saturday. Chagrin, or East Suburban Conference, play their games on Friday. So I'll update Week 4 in just a moment.
In the slot right for Chardon, number 40, Rafi Desapeda, and the ball comes the other way to Scolaris. And boy, Mike Scolaris is running hard. He gets a big hole and drills it out to about the 49-yard line. Stopped there by number 70, Judd Woodward, a gain of 8. It'll be 2nd and 2.
Yeah, Week 4 in the Chagrin Valley Conference. Kirtland sits on top with a 2-0 league record, 2-2 overall. Newberry 1-1 in league, 3-1 overall. Beechwood 1-1, 2-2 overall. I'll catch the rest after this play.
2nd down, about 3 yards to go for Chardon, just short of midfield. Howard Joyner gives them, there's a fumble, ball is still loose, and Chagrin Falls has it. Chagrin Falls has it with the ball, number 61, Bill Henderson, taking it downfield. And he's finally stopped by Howard Joyner, and the ball finally brought down about the 36-yard line. It'll be 1st and 10. First turnover of the evening for Chardon, and it's 1st and 10 for Chagrin Falls with excellent field position at the Chardon 36. And if Chagrin Falls is going to get back in this ball game, this is the time. They've still got time to do it, but they've got to score right here.
That's right, because they're not going to get their hands on that ball many more times. You have to do it now. That's one of those big breaks that Chagrin's needed to get back going.
Ryan Kay to throw on 1st down. Caught by Varanik across the 20. Still on his feet. Down to about the 13-yard line. He's got a 1st down for the Chagrin Tigers. 1st and 10.
This is, as we mentioned earlier, Joe, this is the spark that Chagrin needed. They get fired up. It's amazing how that team can just get turned on by one big play like that.
Seen it happen plenty of times. Wide to the right comes Veranek. In the slot right is number 14, T.J. Florkowitz. In the backfield, McDonald up, and Thomas back in the eye. The give to Dave McDonald. He runs through a big hole, still driving his way hard. He's down inside the 5-yard line to about the 4, and he may very well have another first down for the Chagrin Falls Tigers. From where we're standing right here, it'll be 1st and goal for Chagrin.
Yeah, it was a big lane open up on that left side by the Chagrin offensive front. They did an excellent job blocking up there. Adam Leachman, Tom Belshaw, and Cliff Strickland from his center position opened up a big hole off the guard area there and did a beautiful job. Finishing up East Suburban Conference record. Perry 1-1, 3-2 overall. Cardinal 1-1, 2-2 overall. Berkshire 1-1, 1-3 overall.
And the give is to Scott Thomas, and Thomas is down to about the 1. It'll be 2nd and goal. Continue on, John.
Final one is Aurora Richmond Heights play tonight. We don't know what they're doing.
Actually, they played this afternoon, but we still don't know what they did.
Oh, they played this afternoon?
Yeah, they played this afternoon at Richmond Heights. Can't have night games at Richmond Heights thanks to the fact that their field is about 500 feet from Cuyahoga County Airport, and the FAA will not allow them to have lights there. So
is that right?
They play Saturday afternoon games at Richmond Heights.
You're plenty of esoteric information, Joe.
Yes, I am a plethora of esoteric information. You are certainly correct, sir.
Amazing.
There's no question about it. We have timeout on the field. 10 minutes and 1 second to play in the game. When we come back to action, Chagrin Falls will have the ball. 2nd and goal, about a yard away from the Chardon goal line. Tigers trailing 21-2. As we said, Chagrin's only loss this season. A pretty impressive performance, actually, against a very, very tough Hawken team featuring the multi-talented O.J. McDuffie. 32-18 here at Chagrin Falls in the season opener. Hawkins certainly, I think, in the minds of most people, probably one of the top 5 teams in the Cleveland area. I don't know where the Plain Dealer has them ranked. But Chagrin Falls, or Chardon rather, playing this well against that good of a Chagrin Falls team makes you wonder whether they've got that kind of a ball club too. Dave McDonald cut down in the backfield, thrown for a loss at about the 3-yard line. It'll be 3rd down. In there on the tackle is number 54, Rod Cinco, and Ed Ash also in on the play, number 77. 3rd down from the 3, 3rd and goal.
Yeah, it was good work by that up front group of Chardon, just keeping Chagrin out of that goal line. In answer to your question, the Plain Dealer puts Hawk at number 15, behind 2 CVC teams, I might add.
Oh, they do?
Yes.
That's interesting. I think some people would rank them a little bit higher than that. Rolling to the right, Ryan Kay throwing into the end zone, intercepted. He might be going all the way.
No, he's caught.
Jeff
Someone's got
be
speed
there. Run down from behind by Bill Henderson. I'll tell you, he sure had that one picked out. Palima going down to the 45-yard line after intercepting that pass in the end zone. And Chagrin Falls drove it all the way to the 1 and came up empty. 1st and 10 for Chardon at the Chardon 45-yard line. There's a flag on the play, so it'll probably be taken back quite a distance. Flag way back upfield. I imagine it was after the interception, probably a clip or some infraction of that type, John.
Right. I'm sure that's what it was. I'll tell you, Henderson showed tremendous speed on that one because Palima himself has some very good speed, and Henderson made him look like he was walking on that one.
Very, very quick man. As you said, the penalty against Chardon, a clipping call, I believe, and they will start in considerably less advantageous field position than what we thought. They're going to be at the 10-yard line, it looks like, 1st and 10.
Yeah, but the important thing for Chardon's viewpoint is they have the ball, and Chagrin doesn't have any points in the scoreboard. The defense came through for him.
Chardon also has a 3-touchdown lead with 9 minutes and 10 seconds to play in the ball game. There'll be an interesting matchup next week for Chardon taking on Kenston. And the give goes to Chuck Cox. And Cox is out to about the 13-yard line. It is 2nd down at about 6.
Yeah, that's the thing. There isn't any weak games you can have in the CVC schedule. From top to bottom, it's just a tough, well-balanced league.
2nd down, about 6 yards to go. 8:39 to play in the ball game. Rafi Desapeda in the slot right Wide to the left is Steve Wilson. In the slot left is Scolaris. The give to Desipeda coming the other way, and takes it out to about the 15. Tackled there by number 30, Scott Barilli. It'll be third down and about 5.
Yeah, this is Chardon's just controlling the ball, playing it safe. They just came fresh off of getting a turnover themselves. They don't want to give Chagrin the opportunity of doing that. Plus, they have the fine punter in Scolaris to get the ball out of there. I'm sure they're going to play a rather conservative down here and just play a ball-controlled, non-turnover offense.
Third down, about 5 yards to go for Chardon. They've got the ball around the 15-yard line. In the slot left, Scolaris. In the slot right, Desipeda. Joyner in the pocket to throw, and his pass is incomplete. It was trapped down there by Steve Wilson. It'll bring up fourth down, and Chardon will be forced to punt with 7:47 to play.
Yeah, I'd almost be surprised if Chagrin doesn't come after this punt right now, because they, again, got to make something happen. They got to get it down here. We're down to 7:45 left in this game. Things are rough. They got to, pull out all stops and give it a go.
John, I've seen miracles happen in situations like this before, but I have a feeling that unless Chagrin gets a big break on a turnover, something like that, where they score right on a turnover, that we're not going to see that kind of an occurrence here tonight. Scolaris gets a high punt out to T.J. Florkowitz, who nearly fumbled it and runs about 5 yards backward. Now he's back across midfield, and he's brought down at about the 45-yard line. Stopped down there by a couple of Chardon tacklers, chief among them Mike Vincicara, number 26, Perry Miklas, number 28, also in there. It'll be first and 10 at the 45-yard line. John, next week, Chardon versus Kenston, a rematch between a hard-fought game last year between two teams that really don't like each other a whole heck of a lot.
I think it's a case of either not liking or just respect. You're playing a couple of the better teams year after year in the CVC. You get up for the better teams.
Here's the give to the second man through, Dave McDonald, and he's not going very far. Taken down by Ed Ash, and also in on the play, Rob Cinco, number 54. It'll be second down, and we'll call it about 10 yards to go. Actually, he may have lost a yard. It might be more like second and 11.
Yeah, we got a couple of other good games going on tonight as we're watching. I'm wondering, the game we mentioned earlier, Solon-Kenston, will be shown after this game, is going to be an excellent ball game. West G. Wycliffe is another very, very good matchup in the CVC action.
Ryan Kay to throw, dumps it in the flat, and it's dropped by McDonald at the 40-yard line, third down.
That is the type of pass that Chagrin should be throwing right now. Chardon is dropping off a little deeper, trying to keep the big play from occurring. They're giving up the shorter little flats, sideline passes like that. That's the only way Chagrin's going to do it. They can't hit the bomb because Chardon is dropping off quite a bit.
6:42 to play in the ball game as the Chagrin Falls Tigers come out of the huddle. Wide to the right comes Veranek. In the slot right is T.J. Florkowitz. Tight to the left is Steve Calder. McDonald up, Thomas back in the eye, and Ryan Kay to throw. Down the sideline, caught by McDonald. He has run out of bounds near a first down. Whether he has it or not will depend on where the ball is spotted. Run out of bounds there by number 31, Bob Vincicara, and we'll see whether or not he has a Chagrin Falls first down.
Yeah, I believe he did get it by a little over the length of the ball, Joe.
Yes, he did. First and 10. We'd like to thank all the fine people from Chagrin Falls and Chardon. First from our hosts tonight at Chagrin Falls, Glenn Wyville, their superb athletic director and outstanding basketball coach. John Payai, head coach, and his assistants. We'll get to them in just a minute here. First and 10 from the 36-yard line. Kay to throw, going long down the sideline. He's got Veranek, and he's got the football, and he's out of bounds inside the 1. It's out of bounds inside the 1-yard line, and that's where it'll be first and goal.
Yeah, that was a nice little run pattern by Veranek. It was a little hook and go. Like they've been running on the left side, they tried it on the right side, except rather than hook into the sideline where the pass would be thrown, gave the little hitch and then shot down the field, and got a very, very good game for Chagrin on that play.
Forgot to mention the Chagrin assistants here. Defensive coordinator Bob Dean, offensive coordinator Jim Bucar, defensive secondary coach Lenny May, also the head baseball coach at Chagrin Falls High School, at least it was the last time I checked. Offensive line, head JV coach Matt Chinchar, linebacker and JV defensive coach Dan Ehrenbeit. And of course, and also the team doctors, Dr. John Lombardo, Dr. Tom Anderson, Dr. Gordon Bell, photographers Jim Hubbard and Ben Moralia. Chardon, of course, athletic director Gary Hanlon, head coach Bob Doyle. Bob Doyle's assistants Bill Overton, Emerson Beery, Dave Stahura, Jim DePofi, and Dudley Lytle, former head basketball coach at Chardon High School and at Twinsburg. Superintendent Dr. Bruce Armstrong, Director of Education Dr. William Hiller, Principal Paul Goodwin, Assistant Principal James Green. That's all the fine people there from Chagrin Falls and Chardon. And Ryan Kay, trying to take it over himself, does not get in. It'll be second and goal.
I tell you, that goal line unit for Chardon is just plugging up those holes, making it real tough. This is the second time Chagrin has had it right down in this area. And it's tough to gain that 2 feet they need for the touchdown. You think at 2 feet is just a simple little sneak over by the quarterback, straight handoff to the fullback, but not when you got excellent, quick personnel plugging the holes like Chardon has up front today.
I know the straightest distance between 2 points is a straight line, they had the right idea, but Scott Thomas didn't execute it the right way, and he lost about 15 yards. It'll be third down.
I think they might have been better going between those 2 points you were alluding to, Joe, than trying to go to the outside of that errant pitch.
It was a bad pitch, and Thomas couldn't pull it in. He lost 15 yards. It is third down and goal back around the 16-yard line. The clock continues to run out on Chagrin Falls. 5:09 to play.
Now, Chagrin's to the point right now, they got 2 downs to get in the end zone, because a field goal at this point means nothing. That means you still need 3 scores after that. You got to go for it right now. Sure, we see 2 passes in one or the other at corners in the end zone.
Third and goal from the 16. Kay to throw under a heavy rush. He'll be lucky to get it off, and he won't. I'll tell you. He didn't get it off, and boy, was he hemmed in by the Chardon defense. Number 56, Dave Scanlon, right there on top of him. It is fourth down and goal from Forever and a Day.
Yeah, I think that was Bob Cinco coming out of his tackle position, stride for stride with Scanlon on that one. The whole right side of Chardon's defense just came crossing over as quarterback Kay tried to roll a little bit to his right, blindsided him from the backside, and dropped him for appreciable loss. Chagrin, again, like I said, has to go for it on the fourth down. Field goal means nothing. They're even long for a field goal attempt right now.
I don't care to be the offensive coordinator for Chagrin Falls here, I tell you. What do you call on fourth and goal from the 26?
Touchdown. Simplest call. Now, what exact play that is, if it's a 94 hitch or whatever play they call, I have no idea.
Well, you got to like that Chardon defense, I'll tell you. This is a fine Chagrin Falls football team. And twice in the last 10 minutes of play here, they have had a first and goal inside the Chardon 5. And instead of going forwards, this time they've gone backwards 25 yards up the field. The other time they were stopped dead in their tracks, and on the third down play, a Chardon interception nearly took the ball out to the 45-yard line. Would have had it not been for a clipping penalty. Very impressive defensive performance here tonight by Chardon.
Yeah, you can't even say they're one of those bend but don't break, because they just toughened up when they got down there, but that's the only 2 opportunities that Chagrin has had tonight. They don't even bend that much. It just took a couple of nice little drives by Chagrin to get them down in the mouth of the goal line like where they were before. But they've done an outstanding job. This whole Chardon unit tonight has played a very, very impressive game against a good Chagrin team that's going to cause a lot of trouble for a lot of other teams in the CBC this season.
Kay going long for TJ Florkowitz, and he can't get to it. And Chagrin will give up the ball on downs to Chardon, and Chardon will have the football first and 10 at the 26-yard line.
Yeah, Bob Vinciquera was just like a blanket on a receiver that time, and that's exactly what Chardon had to do. They knew they had to get it in the end zone. They could play off, allow the man to get a few steps till they reach him, drop back slowly, and just blanket him. Good defensive work by Vinciquera on that play.
We have a special guest here with us tonight, Andy Sefcik, the voice of Western Reserve Cable on camera. Of course, Andy is the fine dispatcher for Cablevision. He's the guy who gets all those people out on those service calls as quickly as possible. Andy's with us tonight running camera and does a great job on the football games down at Western Reserve Cable and has for a long time. Running over the left side is Rafi Desapeda, and he gets a good hole and some good yardage knocked down there finally by Dan Mills, number 25. And it will be second down and about 4.
Yeah, this is one of those points in the game where all the backs have to hold on for Chardon, have to hold on to that ball rather tightly because Chagrin doesn't want to be shut out. They want to get some points on the board, and the best way to do that is try to strip that ball, make something happen so they can give it back to their offense to get those needed points.
Second down and 4. And once again, the give to Desapeda, and he's going nowhere. Hit immediately by the Chagrin Falls line. Taken down there by number 67, Adam Lechman, and also number 73, Tom Belshaw. It will be third down.
Yeah, it was good running again. Both hands covering that ball, protecting it as it should before you. The object of running a ball is keep both hands on it till you break through the line of scrimmage, and then you can one people, but through that line you hold it well, and that's exactly what the ball carrier for Chardon did on that one, protecting it.
Third down and about 3. Rolling to his right, Howard Joyner going to the sideline, and the ball. The intended receiver out there, Mike Scolaris. It'll be fourth down, and Chardon will punt. I'd also like to mention Dave Lubinger came over and said hello to us before the ball game. Dave, one of the fine athletes in the history of West Geauga High School, now teaching and coaching at Mayfield. Fine teacher and fine coach and fine person is he. Nice to see Bill here at the ball game tonight. Or not that Bill. Bill's his brother. Dave was here. And Mr. Warren Jevnikar, the father of our general manager Dave Jevnikar, out there behind the scenes this evening. Glad to see him back again. TJ Forkowitz makes a fair catch on the punt by Scolaris. And it'll be first and 10 for Chagrin at the 39-yard line of Chagrin Falls.
Yeah, Chagrin right now, I'm sure, has given up on any chances of winning this game. They're down to 2 minutes, 30 seconds. They need 3 touchdowns to do it. So I'm sure they're realistic enough to appreciate the fact that the ball game is over for them. Right now, all they're trying to do is get some points on that board. Coach Paya would like that. That gives you a little moral build you need for next week's game, because nobody likes to see you end up in a game with nothing on the scoreboard. And Chardon, again, they're going to be playing a little tough out here because they want to keep that shutout. That's a big pride thing for defenses, is to shut out another team, especially a good team like Chagrin is.
Yeah, and it's never a good feeling to lose that shutout in the last couple of minutes of a game. It's never a good feeling to have that happen to you. It's more frustrating. Well, it's not more frustrating than being scored on early and often. But if you give up 7 points, it's a lot more frustrating to give them up in the last 2 minutes of the game than it is to give them up in the first 2 minutes. There's no question about that. When you're that close to a shutout and you have that goal in there, of course, it doesn't always happen that way, but sometimes it does happen that way.
Yeah, that's one of the points of pride of one of the statistics for a defense. Running backs get their yardage, quarterbacks get their completion percents and yardage also. Ends get number of receptions. There's all kinds of offensive statistics. Defensively, you got number of tackles made, you got interceptions, and you got number of points put on the board as a unit, or held off the board as a unit. And that's what Chardon's playing for right now. Chagrin, on the other hand, like I said, they're playing for pride. They want to get something going to keep from getting shut out. And be interesting to see how they try to overcome this Chardon defense.
Ryan Kay trying to throw the ball in the flat, and he underthrows Thomas, and the ball lands incomplete. It will be second down and 10.
Again, that showed the quickness of that Chardon defense, because Chagrin was setting up a screen to their left side on that play. Quarterback got hurried so much that he didn't have a time for his back, Thomas, to get out there and set up that screen, because the quickness of Chardon were in on him just a little bit too fast to set up a good screen play.
We'd also like to mention the fine varsity cheerleaders tonight from Chagrin Falls, as we're here tonight, and the ball dumped out into the corner to Veranek, and he's run out of bounds to the 48-yard line. I think he'll be about a yard short of a first down. It'll be 3rd and 1. Varsity football cheerleaders from Chagrin Falls: Bonnie Finley, Tanya Weicker, Kate Weiss, Donna Gross, and Hallie Philpott. And they have done a lot to provide spirit to all the fans here at Chagrin Falls this evening. Congratulations to them. I always want to mention the cheerleaders once every year because they put in a tremendous amount of hard work, and it's almost a year-round thing, and they really deserve all the credit they can get. Here's the give to Thomas, and Thomas across the 45 down to about the 43-yard line. 1st and 10 for Chagrin, picked up about 9 on the play. Tiger ball, 1st and 10 at the Chardon 43-yard line.
Boy, that Thomas is quick. Did you see him cut that corner and just hit it real fast, Joe?
Sure did. Ryan Kay to throw. Going down the sideline, incomplete, intended for Chad Veranek. Covering on the play was Bob Vincicara, number 31. It'll be 2nd down. Exactly 2 minutes left to play in the ball game. Chardon holding that 3-touchdown lead, 21-0.
Yeah, Vincicara almost tried to make an attempt to step in front and intercept that pass. Went to school for Plymouth, That's the way Plymouth did his. Kind of hung back, and last second when it was there, stepped in front and started running down the sidelines. I think Vincicara had the same aspirations on that one, of jumping in front and possibly taking it all the way down into the end zone. Good defensive coverage by Bob Vincicara.
2nd and 10, Ryan Kay to throw. Overthrown, intended for Veranek, and flags fly. And I believe we're going to have a penalty. I think it was way away from where the play happened. I think it was down the sideline where the flags flew. Something going on down there with number 25, Dan Mills of Chagrin Falls, and number 33, Ray Davies. No, he is not the lead singer for the Kinks. And we don't know what's going on down there, but it looks like it's going to be a penalty called off against the Chardon Hilltoppers.
Yeah, I really didn't see what happened. It seemed to be towards the middle of the field in Plymouth areas where the flag was thrown. I think it might have just been a little bit of a contact as the ball was thrown in the air. See what the infraction signal is.
It was a personal foul. It was a personal foul against Chardon, and that'll make it 1st and 10 for Chagrin inside the 30 at the 28-yard line. Wide to the left is Veranek, and the slot left is Forkowitz. Kay to throw under heavy pressure, and he will go down back at the 35. Chardon defense has put heavy pressure on the passer this evening, and the man who came in and made the play that time was number 75, Bill Bailey, and also number 67, Scott Hoffman. And Ryan Kay was not saying, Bill Bailey, will you please come home? I want to say, Bill Bailey, stay out of my way. But he didn't do it. It'll be 2nd down and about 18 yards to go for Chagrin Falls. Wide to the right for Chagrin comes Chad Veranek, number 87. In the slot right is Dan Mills to throw. Kay going to the outside, caught by Veranek, breaks a tackle and runs out of bounds around the 23. He will be a little short of a 1st down. It'll be 3rd down and short yardage for Chagrin.
Yeah, Chagrin is playing with that clock rather well, moving the ball down the field, using the sidelines whenever they can. Incomplete passes, stop it, because they've run a lot of plays here in just a little over a minute. I think they got the ball and started with the 2-minute, 30-second mark. We're only down to 1:13 now, and Chagrin has ran off about 8-9 offensive plays in that time.
3rd down and about 8 yards to go. Minute and 13 seconds to play in the ball game. 21-0. Ryan Kay drops into the pocket, fires to the sideline, and it's dropped by Veranek. It'll bring up 4th down.
Yeah, again, Vincicara picked up his man, was right behind him. As soon as he touched the ball, he started driving that shoulder into the back of him, aided him in dropping that pass. Good defensive coverage by Vincicara on that play.
4th down and 8 yards to go, and obviously with just a minute and 6 seconds to play in the ball game, Chagrin Falls is going to go for it.
Yeah, they really don't have any choice. What's the reason not to at this point? The only thing I could think of is try a long field goal attempt to try to get 3 points on the board, but they're going for 7, or at least the 1st down, I'm sorry.
Veranek comes wide to the left. Kay to throw. Pumps once. Steps to the outside. Going into the end zone. And we should see some flags. And there they go. We're going to have a flag down there on Bob Vincicara, who tackled Chad Veranek while the ball was in the air. And we're going to have a pass interference penalty on Chardon, and that'll give Chagrin Falls a 1st down.
Yeah, I didn't really see the infraction, Joe, but there had to be something because the ball was thrown there and there wasn't a Chagrin man even close to the area.
I saw it down the left-hand side. Vince Sequeira grabbed Veranek and pulled him to the ground at about the 10-yard line. And as soon as the ball went into the air, the flags flew.
That explains why there was nobody where the ball was thrown. The only man in the reasonable proximity was Jeff Plima, the safety man, playing deep center field coverage for Chardon.
So the pass interference penalty will give Chagrin Falls a first down. Remember, stay tuned for Solon and Kenston. That is always an interesting matchup. Last year, Solon and Kenston went to overtime. Kenston won that ball game 17-14 on an overtime field goal by the now graduated Daryl Wodecki. Interesting to see what will happen between Solon and Kenston this season. 1st and 10. Kay drops into the pocket, and he's under heavy pressure, and he is going to be forced to the ground at about the 18-yard line, tackled by a horde of tacklers from the Chagrin Falls, not from the Chagrin Falls Tigers, Joe, from the Chardon Hills Toppers. And we're taken down there by number 67. That was Scott Hoffman. It'll be 2nd down and 10. Kay to throw, looking for TJ Florkowitz, underthrown and incomplete. Actually, Florkowitz did not turn around for the ball as quickly as he could have, and as you see, 30 seconds left on the clock, 30 seconds left in the ball game. Our fine camera crew with us tonight, Alan Arslanian, back with the Cablevision crew for the first time, and Kim Boughton on our down camera downstairs with Steve Stash-Karchevsky on the key grip with our down camera, Paul Brannigan directing in the truck, and Dave Jevnikar, our system general manager, also helping out with some details here this evening. Dropping to throw is Kay, and the ball slipped out of his hand as he threw it. It falls to the ground incomplete, and it'll bring up 4th down.
Hey, Kay hasn't had much time at all tonight. At defensive front of Chardon, let me name them all as a unit, because as a unit they played an outstanding game. Chris Stuffelbaum, the end. Brian Whitecobb, the tackle. Bill Bailey coming out of nose. Bob Cinco coming out of the other tackle. And Dave Scanlon at end are just putting extreme pressure, not allowing Kay to have time to throw, much less have receivers get open through that strong Chardon secondary. They got a heck of a defense this year. I think that's what's going to carry them a lot. That, the offensive line's going to give them points. I'm glad I picked them as one of my favorites in this league this year, Joe, because from what I see tonight, I think I made a wise choice.
You certainly did. And that pass is caught by Veranek for a touchdown. I'm sorry, that's not Veranek. Excuse me, it's Matt Veranek. I was right, it was a Veranek, and it was Matt Veranek who caught the ball for a touchdown. And it's 21-6. Chagrin Falls gets on the board with 20 seconds to play in the ball game.
Yeah, as I understand it, Joe, that's a mistakable error because Chad and Matt are twins, and it's really tough to tell them apart, from what I heard. That's right. Except for number 86.
I got an excuse. Steve Blair will hold for the extra point attempt by TJ Florkowitz. The ball is down. The kick is good. You know, the Chagrin Falls Tigers have to be wondering. They had the ball inside the 5-yard line with 1st and goal 2 occasions in this second half. Came away with no points. They've got to be wondering what would have happened if we would have punched it in. Maybe we'd be going to overtime right now. But instead, it's Chardon 21, Chagrin Falls 7. And with only 20 seconds to play in the ball game, looks like Chardon is going to go to 4-0 and step into that big matchup with Kenston next week undefeated.
Yeah, very much. And much as the defense wanted that shutout, I think that score might have been the best thing for Chardon because it gives a morale boost to Chagrin now going into their game next week against West Jaga. Can always help them out when you give a morale boost to the other team that you've already played. Hopefully they'll knock off an opponent you haven't played as of yet. Chardon's got to look at it that way. That's a good thing for Chagrin to score on that. For Chagrin, morale-wise, they needed it. It's good to see. I hate to see teams shut out, especially good teams that have played a hard-fought football game and just have come out on the wrong end of the scoreboard.
Morally, John, you sound like you're testifying at a congressional hearing or something. 20 seconds to play in the ball game, and Chagrin Falls is going to go for an onside kick, and Chardon falls on it quickly. And That'll just about be your ball game as the Hilltoppers will take over the football. 1st and 10 at the 49-yard line of Chagrin Falls. And they will just simply run the last 20 ticks off the clock and go back home to Chardon happy with a 21-7 victory.
Yeah, I'd be surprised if they do anything short of quarterback Joyner taking a snap, going back a couple steps and dropping on one knee. I'm sure that's all we're going to see for the rest of this ball game.
Chagrin Falls with a tough matchup next week against Jim Chapman's rejuvenated West Geauga Wolverines. Should be an interesting ball game as Howard Joyner drops on the football, and that'll be it. 3, 2, 1. It's all over. It's all over here at Chagrin Falls, Ohio, C.S. Harris Stadium. The Chardon Hilltoppers go to 4-0 by dropping the Chagrin Falls Tigers to 2-2. Chardon in the CVC conference opener, both for them, for Chagrin Falls, and for us, winning this ball game by a score of 21-7. And at the end of, John, you have some closing comments there?
Well, first of all, I think Chagrin is going to be a force to be reckoned with in this league. They played an outstanding game tonight. They just ran against a team that just looked superior tonight. Chardon dominated offensive, defensive fronts, strong secondary work, put an outstanding display of football playing on the field tonight. Chagrin, though, is going to be heard from quite a bit, and they're not out of the running because as strong as the CBC league is, I think 1 or 2 losses could still win a league title.
For our director, Paul Brannigan, for our outstanding camera crew, and for my partner, John Walsh, this is Joe Scarola wishing you a good evening until we meet again. Stay tuned for Solon versus Kenston right here on Cablevision. Good night.